a lot of shows when I think about when I think about a lot of shows, there is a conduct at shows, and I think that if a person wants to stand up during a show and they're enjoying themselves, that's fine. But I think since it was a Vegas show, it was kind of a formal show because it looked like a formal show, the Joe show.
Well, I mean, the thing with a Vegas show is that, like, if you're going to a Vegas show, I think a Vegas show ended up being like a smaller venue. I mean, was it in a big venue or was it like
it was at
a
the
residency?
Coliseum. The Coliseum at
Oh, that's a big show at
that's
Caesar's Palace.
yeah, Caesar Palace.
Okay, well then, I mean, that would be completely different. I think that's completely different. I mean, if you're like in an arena, I think, yeah, go ahead and let you go for it. I mean, a lot of people right now are just like really pissed off because of ticket pricing.
Yeah, if you think about it, it's expensive. Like me and my sister and her friend, we are planning to try to get instant tickets for when they reunite, and we know that it's not going to be cheap. And she had told me recently, "Hey, you want to go see Pink?" And I was like, "How much do you want for the ticket?" She's like, "They're $280 each."
That's
and
cheap.
Me and my sister,
cheap.
For front row.
That's way cheap for front row.
But me and my sister are not that big of Pink fans.
Yeah.
We would splurge that much. She's like, they also have $80 tickets, and my sister's like, well, why didn't you tell me that about that one first? She goes, I could spring for 80. She goes, I'm not a big fan.
Well, there used to be a time where I mean, when I was younger, especially. I mean, now that I'm older and I've got bad knees and stuff, probably not as much. But there used to be a time where it's like I just wanted to be in the building. So if like a band came to town that I really, really, really wanted to see, I would just be like, I just want to be in the building. I don't care where I'm at. I don't care if I'm in the nosebleeds. I don't care. I'll pay whatever price. I would go ahead and pay my whatever $80 and be up in the nosebleeds. But like now, it's like even the nosebleeds are like, you're talking $300-$400.
Well,
so it's like you can't even go to nosebleeds. Hey, what's up, Nick?
Hey, Nick. But like when I went to see BTS, the nosebleeds I paid $127.
Yeah, I think. And how many years ago was that though? Because that had to have been
2019.
Okay, so you're talking like 3-4 years ago.
And then in 2020,
hey,
the 2020 I bought some VIP tickets. For another concert, 17, and I paid $333 for that. That's the most expensive concert. But when you think about it, there is still a venue out here in LA that I think has reasonably priced. I think there's a venue out here in LA that I still think has reasonably priced nosebleeds. You know what that is? The Hollywood Bowl. The Hollywood Bowl.
No, I don't understand how is the Hollywood Bowl one of the people that's under Ticketmaster control? I mean, Ticketmaster Live Master.
They're under
Live Nation. I'm sorry, Ticketmaster Live Master.
I think
Ticket
so.
Nation, aren't they? Ticketmaster Live Nation. I'm like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I believe so.
Hey, what's up, Tim? Hey, Nathaniel.
I believe so, but but Ticketmaster, like when I bought tickets in the past to concerts at Ticketmaster, at Hollywood Bowl, they've been reasonably priced for the nosebleeds. Like I went to see Vampire Weekend, and it was for 2 tickets, $98, which you can't really get nosebleeds anymore for like 2 tickets, $98.
But the thing I'm wondering if like bands like Vampire Weekend, which are like on the, I would say bands like that, maybe. I mean, well, no, I wouldn't say they're on the lower end of the spectrum when it comes to like, talent. But I'm like saying, like. Are they like one of the bands that would fall under like the dynamic pricing model? So it's like it's like, are they one of the bands that they would actually end up doing the whole dynamic pricing thing? Where they go, unless they do that with every band now. Do they do that with every band now, where they go ahead and if there's major why am I freaking being so stutterish today? If there's major demand for it, they're like, the prices are all jacked up.
If you think about it, because I've seen so many bands like, when I saw Vampire Weekend, it was $98, and when I saw Ed Sheeran, I think I paid like $140 for 2 tickets when he played the Rose Bowl in 2017. It depends on the artist.
Like Ed Sheeran, I don't like him, but he's really, really popular. So I would figure he would be someone who would like fall under dynamic pricing, and it'd probably be like, high rates.
Well, we were in the back. We were like almost towards the last row when we went, because there's 90,000 at the Rose Bowl. So for me, it's like, I think if the band is not big enough or popular enough, that you're not going to be spending a lot of money. Because if you think about it, you see those TikToks that people make. Oh, I spent $2,000 to see Bad Bunny. And I'm like, I don't even like his music.
Well, but you know what the thing is? I mean, we can't look through our eyes. You know, it's like, okay, we may not like Bad Bunny, but Bad Bunny has a big following.
No,
so
it was a TikTok challenge, you know, to piss off your husband and say, oh, I spent $2,000 on Bad Bunny tickets.
Okay, well, that'd be kind of shitty.
But you know, I do like. I'm not a big fan of his, but I do like that one song he did with somebody, and I can't remember the name of it. It's got a catchy beat. Bad Bunny's not 100% bad.
Damn, Tim said the most I ever paid to see a concert was $37.50, and that was McCartney. 1970 what?
No. That was probably. It was
what
probably
was
the
that?
90s. Probably the 90s, right?
$37.50. I don't remember tickets being $37.50 during the 90s.
Well,
I mean, I still remember I paid decent amounts during the 90s. I saw a lot of bands during the 90s, though.
Yeah, because I paid. I think I paid $7 to see Backstreet Boys in 1998.
Really?
$7.
Damn.
No, because they were playing at that, that place that got turned into the Harry Potter theme park.
Oh, the Universal Amphitheater.
Yep.
I saw a lot of bands at Universal Amphitheater. I remember when, out here we have the K-Rock Acoustic Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, I'm saying that, I mean, Lisa knows, but I'm saying for other people that don't really know too much about California. We have this thing called the K-Rock Acoustic Christmas, which is great. Every year they end up having this whole slew of bands, which they've been playing on K-Rock all year. And it used to go to, where was it? They used to do it all the time. Was it? I think it was Universal Amphitheater. No, the Weenie Roast every summer would be at Universal Amphitheater. They would go to Universal Amphitheater, and then when Universal Amphitheater closed, then it moved over here to the Honda Center. So it went all the way from over there to over here by me. Yeah. So, which was pretty cool because it made it more local to me, and I was able to get to more of them, and stuff like that. But, yeah. But $37.50, that had to have been like what, late 80s, early 90s, that price. It sounds like that. Paulina said the New World Tour noise. This is 93. There you go. He said 93.
Another thing I like to bring up about tours is the shirt prices, because shirt prices now are like $50, $50 for a shirt. And the last time I went and bought a shirt at a concert, I spent $50 for a Backstreet Boys shirt. So that's like the new norm nowadays. And then if you want to get like a limited edition poster, some of those can go upwards of, depending on who the artist is. Like one time, I think the Black Keys did a collaboration with Shepard Farley, who did the Obama poster. And that was $75. So yeah, they get you for the tickets and they get you for the merch.
I'm going to tell you, I mean, the thing is with the t-shirts, I mean, of course, with my size, I never buy the t-shirts. My daughter buys them, She usually ends up budgeting it because she ends up having this thing where she likes to get one hoodie and she likes to get one shirt, usually. Not too many, accessories and stuff like that. And then usually she goes in outside and we buy what we call the Woody Hutton shirts. I will explain to people what the Woody Hutton is. I don't know if everybody ends up knowing. Probably a lot of you do. During the 90s, there was a TV show called Martin. And there was an episode where he was unemployed and broke and trying to figure out a way to make money. And him and this guy named Brother Man, who was a character on the show, made these bootleg Whitney Houston t-shirts. Well, what ends up happening is the joke is that Brother Man doesn't know how to spell. Brother Man couldn't get a good picture of Whitney Houston. So the t-shirt said Woody Hutton Wood Tour, was WOOD Tour, TOOR, and it was a picture of Brother Man in a wig. So we call them Woody Hutton shirts, those $5 shirts that you buy outside. So usually she always goes out and buys those t-shirts. And you know what? I'm sorry, but the technology has gone to the point where those guys outside sell t-shirts that are of the same quality. Yeah. And sometimes the graphics look even better than the t-shirts they're selling inside the venue. It's like, I think they're actually getting together, because before you ended up getting like a t-shirt where you got like 4 or 5 logos from like different eras and stuff like that, and they would end up sticking on a t-shirt or whatever. But now it's like they're starting to get it together, really starting to get together, but we call them the Woody Hutton shirts.
I got so many black shirts from tours.
But the other thing I was going to say is, when you were talking about the souvenir posters, the posters are where the money's at. And that's what I collect. If you see in the background, I have quite a few of them here, and also on this wall here in front of me, you guys can't see it, but I have quite a few here too. What I do is I usually buy them. Those are the posters that go for like $25. Usually get it for about $25. But the thing is, as soon as you buy them, it seems like almost instantly you see them on eBay and they're starting to go for like, they go up immediately, the price to go up like 80, 90, 100. There's some posters I have from like maybe earlier in the year, and they're already going for like $400. The price goes up quick on them.
Here's an example of a bootleg shirt I bought from 21 Pilots concert in 2015.
See, looks now that they sell, it looks good to me because that's the same exact shirt that they sell on their. Look. Okay, well, there's where you end up seeing this bootleg. But that actual logo, LA. That shirt.
They spelled LA right. I was impressed. I paid $15 for it.
That's like one of their popular shirts, though. That logo is like one of the popular shirts, the Vessel era.
I was like speaking to them in my broken Spanish.
Okay, let's see. Tim Allen said, in DC, I could see most bands that I cared about up close in a bar for $25 or less. I saw the Kings, Brian Setzer Orchestra, Warren Zevon, Nick Lowe, Alex Chilton, the Posies, Jonathan Richman.
Ooh, nice.
Now, the thing is, like, Tim, we have a place out here, which is 2 cities over from me in Santa Ana. It's called the Observatory. This place is a hole in the wall. I don't know what it is about this place, but it attracts like the cream of the crop when it comes to bands. I mean, they end up getting like all these big bands, and I mean, they play there all the time. And it's like this little freaking hole in the wall. Actually that t-shirt you showed, the Vessel tour, 21 Pilots, when they were when they were getting really big, they played that it's called the Constellation Room. At the Observatory. It's a little freaking hole in the wall. I swear to God. Yeah. It's about like, I think my high school gymnasium was bigger.
So how many people? It was like 300?
Maybe, if that.
Yeah, it's like the Echo out here in Echo Park. Mm-hmm. It's 300. That's where the Rolling Stones played.
Like I remember we saw Panic at the Disco there before they got canceled. Now they're canceled or whatever. But we saw them there. You had to win the tickets on Instagram. They were sold tickets, which of course sold out right away, but you were able to win the tickets on Instagram, and luckily my daughter's friend won them, was not really interested in seeing them, and we got the tickets. So, we were way up close and stuff. But, it was funny because, like, we went, and there was, like, it was a bunch of young girls, young teenagers, and it was funny, it was a bunch of dads taking their daughters. So it's funny, I was like at the back because they have a huge bar in the back. Yeah. And me and all the dads were kicking it back there drinking beers while the daughters were like, running up there yelling for Brendan. Oh my God, Brendan, he's so cute.
I've been a fan of Panic at the Disco since 2005. Mm-hmm. I'm a longtime fan. I just, it never occurred to me to ever see them live. I was like, nah, but yeah.
The thing that I think is really stupid is this new thing they're coming out with. It was like, what was I reading about? Listening only.
What is it?
You haven't heard about that? This whole thing where they're coming out with where it's supposed to be like in each of the venues. Remember how they used to do in arenas? You'd end up having the stage and there'd be parts where you could not see. Yeah. And stuff like that, Well, now they're trying to squeeze every last fucking dollar, and they're selling those seats that are behind the stage where it's an obstructed view and you can't see, and they're called listening only tickets.
This is
so what they put screens back there. They put screens back there so you can see and you can hear, but you're not seeing the artist.
This is what I think about those.
Yeah, and I mean, and these tickets are going for like almost $300 for Beyonce. They're going for almost $300.
Fudge that! If I'm going to go see Beyonce, I'm going to go waste my time to go see Beyonce and my sister. I want to see her face because you know why? I'm never ever going to see her ever again. No.
Oh yeah, Nick, it is a thing. Oh yes, look it up. It is something that's called listening only.
When did they introduce that? Recently?
Recently. And I was reading an article here that was in the Insider. It said, some Beyonce fans are mad about listening only tickets with obstructed views of the stage, but one fan risked it and got a perfect view. So.
Yeah, but why would I want to see Beyonce's butt when I could see her face?
No, people aren't seeing her butt. What it is, they set up these screens in the back or in the obstructed view where you can see the show, but you're just not seeing her. So, you're hearing it. You're in the venue. You're hearing her play, You know, you're hearing her play like you're at the concert. You have an obstructed view and you can't see her, or you may be able to. Who knows?
No.
But it's big screens.
No, I just stay home for that price. I can see her on a screen for free, $300 to just hear her.
Look at Tim said, Beyonce's just miming anyway. Just listen to the album. You know, it was funny because one year we went to go see Iron Maiden. I took my son. Well, it was like 2008. That was the last time I went to go see Iron Maiden, that long ago. My son was still young, and I took him to the Forum. We had floor seats. And I remember we went up to the concession stand, and we went to go buy a beer. And there was this guy in the line in front of us who looks like he had already been fucking pre-gaming it. He was already fucking tailgating and partying it. He was drunk already. And he bought a few beers, and he bought a few beers, and they told him his like price. He's like, oh, what? I think it was almost close to like $50.
Yeah, that's
and he turns around and he goes, Jesus Christ, he's all, for that much? $50? He's all, man, for $50, he's, I could have got a hooker, bought a case of beer, and sat at home and watched the DVD, goddammit.
That would have been a more fun time. That would have been a more fun time for him.
So $50, get out a hooker, a case of beer, and watch a DVD. I have life after death, damn it. I was like, yeah, you could have, definitely.
I mean, food is expensive. The last time I went to the Hollywood Bowl, we bought two hot dogs and a drink, and it was like $25.
Yeah. Easily. The thing I like about Iron Maiden shows, though, is Iron Maiden shows are like one of those shows where the t-shirts, usually they always have a limited edition one.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is about Iron Maiden t-shirts, but their resale value is fucking high. And if you look on eBay, you can find some of the t-shirts that end up going upwards of like $1,100, $1,200. I recently sold one from 2008. I think I sold it for like $140 to $150, and it was used, well used. And I was like, let me see if I can sell this, because I saw other shirts were selling for the same price, going for like three or four. And sure enough, I sold it for $150. I sold, this worn out t-shirt for $150. I was like, Jesus Christ.
It's amazing what sells online. But when you think about it, nowadays to go to a concert, it's great. But the days of getting tickets for reasonable prices, out the door.
I mean, it will be until the government does something about it. I mean, if they end up actually calling them on the monopoly, but I don't think they're going to.
I mean, Joe Biden supposedly did some kind of a thing where he called them out on it, but it's not changing things.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to think about it. You have all of these people that are in Ticketmaster and Live Nation, and they're lobbying the government. Yeah. I don't want to turn around and get political, because that's the last thing our audience likes to hear, are the people that come and like listen to us. Yeah. But it's true. It's like you have lobbyists, and they're greasing a lot of senators and stuff like that, and a lot of like lawmakers, and it's just it's not going to happen. No. I think it's really going to take a whole lot in order for that to like come tumbling down. I don't see it happening anytime soon.
I mean, am I gonna probably go bankrupt and have to take out a 401k for NSYNC? Yeah. Am I gonna regret it? No.
Hey, Paulina.
Hello, Paulina. Welcome.
You go to the Hollywood Bowl and you buy hot dogs?
Yeah,
That's a Costco thing.
Let me explain. I was hungry. I was hungry. Jerkhead was like, let's go get some hot dogs. And we were on edibles, okay? It was Tame Impala. He's like, let's go get some hot dogs. I was like, sure. I was hungry. I had the munchies. Don't you
get like suicide dogs?
Look, Hollywood Bowl don't allow those people over there. I think they're not a bougie establishment, Hollywood Bowl.
I'm like, damn, this light had my face like really red. It looked like my blood pressure was up.
Paulina? Paulina, that's a great idea. Next time I go to Hollywood Bowl, I'll bring Costco. You're onto something. You're onto something, girl. Bring a chicken bake. Bring a chicken bake from Costco. They're very big. Bring it into.
If I go to Hollywood Bowl, I'm gonna want pizza or something bougie.
Oh, there you go, the gourmet pizza, something like that.
Yeah,
something of that sort.
Yeah, I was kind of lame when I went to Hollywood Bowl one year. I brought salami, strawberries, and water.
That is the most random list right there.
And crackers, man.
Leave it to Lisa, man. I brought salami, bananas,
No,
Graham
crackers.
crackers.
No, I bought No. I said no. I did not.
And
bring
she
banana.
remembers too. This is the thing that's crazy. She remembers. I remember that was that was back in 2011. So I was on a salami kick at the time.
No, it was 2010.
She said I had some raspberry sparkling water, salami.
Hey, I have very good memory.
I remember the bananas.
I can
were
remember.
Spoiled,
I can remember people's birthdays. I have very good memory.
There's something about the banana that was electric.
Yeah.
Something about the banana was electric.
Then you want to hear another random thing. Is my sister, when I went with my sister's friend, she brought ice cream bars in. She had a little portable cooler.
Lisa took her bananas and she was watching this. She said, "Ooh, what a great show."
Sure did.
She's all, "This is an awesome show. I'm having a ball."
Sure did. I mean, the Hollywood Bowl lets you bring anything you want. That's what I love about it.
Until the salami kicked her the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's salami.
Look at there you go, Nathaniel. Werewolf said salami kick is my special move.
Ooh.
So, yeah! In video games.
Yeah.
No, but I was telling you, the thing I was saying is you don't just get what we call suicide dogs. It's out here, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they have them at the forum too. It's you end up having the little Mexican ladies. You have the little Mexican ladies who end up selling the hot dogs, that are wrapped in the bacon and stuff like that with all the peppers and all that stuff. It's pretty freaking awesome. Usually we end up getting them here.
I don't get the suicide dogs. I get the elotes. I get the elotes. That's what I like. Elote.
Kind of the same. Well, it's kind of from the same vendor, I think. Something like that.
Yeah, the esquite. Yeah, I like that stuff. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
There you go. I've got my t-shirt today.
Looking down, I just saw it in the thing. I'm like, oh, what am I wearing today?
I've got my Lisa t-shirt on. You're killing me, Smalls.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Oh, there you go. That's Lisa. I'm oh, Lisa, you're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me.
That's me right there. I'm Squints.
Squints. She's always trying to sneak kisses or what?
Yep. Yeah.
Squints. Yeah, so what do you think about that, Tim? What do you think about this whole thing with listening only tickets? Oh, can you hear me?
Well, I think my comment said it all. I couldn't imagine going. I mean, if I was a kid, I couldn't imagine being a kid and going to see Paul McCartney for the first time at 82 years old or whatever he is, and hearing this warbly voice coming out, and not even seeing him.
Yeah. Well, they have a screen. I mean, like I said, they end up having screens that'll be back there, they have huge LCD, whatever screens where you're able to watch the show. You just can't see him. So it's you're behind him. So he's on the other side of the screen, on the stage, but you can't see him.
Yeah,
it's kind of
Yeah, I mean, the first time I saw McCartney, I was literally in the fifth from the very last row at the Dome in Toronto, so he was only about a quarter-inch tall anyway, so I suppose I might as well not see him at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I think would be a great thing to do? What I think would be awesome, a good idea would be and they could probably make a lot of money if they could turn around and just go ahead and have an app. Say, if Ticketmaster wanted to do it, or Live Nation, they said, okay, we have an app, and what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to charge you per show, okay? So, say when someone comes to town, we're going to go ahead and we're going to broadcast the show on our app, but you have to pay this much money to watch it. So it's when they play the SoFi Theater, it's or SoFi, Stadium or whatever, you can go ahead and pay $25, $30 and watch the show in the comfort of your home, and not have to deal with going to the stadium and stuff like that. I think that would be a good idea. And even on top of that, if you wanted to give them an extra incentive, you could try and say, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to sell you a package, and it's going to be $50 or $60, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to get a t-shirt, or you'll get a special poster. You'll get your access to the show, and, maybe we'll end up sending you a Blu-ray of the show. You end up having your own Blu-ray, I think that would end up being something that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Or I'll
You
just wait for someone to do a bootleg copy through their bucket hats.
But with the screens, I mean, they got every show, every big show has cameramen and they're filming it anyway. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They're filming it anyway. Why don't they just transmit it? Just transmit it.
I think the only problem is once it's transmitted, people can capture it, and then
that's right.
On YouTube, it can be sold. It can, that's
screen
that's
recording.
The only problem with it
because you can do screen recording with my Samsung phone.
Yeah, I mean, I could do it with OBS. I could pretty much capture anything with OBS.
Yeah, that's the only problem I see with it.
Which thank God for people that could do that, because there are people that I wanted to see this year at Coachella, but I couldn't because I was working. So someone was able to capture a lot of the performances that were being posted on YouTube by Coachella. And so I can now be like, okay, I missed weekend one of so-and-so. And so I was able to download those, and I like watching them. Back.
Yeah, this is the thing that's crazy about that, though, is I turned around, I only captured a couple of artists. I think I captured like the Gorillaz, and I captured Blink-182, and I got them in full 1080. And I turned around, I was going to I went, well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and start another channel, which is going to be just concerts and stuff like that. And I was going to try and start the second channel. I went ahead and I did the whole thing, set the channel up, blah, 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 whatever. Every time I tried to go upload one of those concerts, it kept on blocking it. Which I don't understand, because there were so many freaking channels that day that were uploading it.
They must have programs or something.
Yeah.
I got to figure that out. Yeah.
But the thing to me about that is, though, if everybody did this, what would happen is it would become so saturated that the bootleggers would be out of business, basically, because if everybody did this with every show on their tour, and they all wound up on nobody can watch that much stuff, and nobody wants to, and people would just get tired of it after a while, and it would all the bootleggers would go away because it's just oversaturated. You can't
I remember that, Nick, actually, because I remember a lot of bands I saw during the late 90s, early 2000s, they were doing that, where they would do, what was the name? There was a program. It was the name of there was a program, they named it, where you would go to the show and they would go ahead and sign you up for buying a copy of the CD, and they'd send it to you in the mail. They sent it to you in the mail, but it was like within a week or so. You would get a copy of it.
Ticketmaster did that too, where you would. Ticketmaster.
No, I'm sorry.
Did that.
Well, yeah, it had to have been Live Nation, because I remember there was a. Well, no, I'm going to say in 2005, Depeche Mode was doing it for Touring the Angel, because I remember they had it set up where it's like Nick was saying, you would end up leaving the venue and they already had the CDs ready. So if you wanted to purchase them, your CD was ready for pickup when you left.
Oh, no, because when I went to see
I found amazing.
When I went to see Vampire Weekend, they sent
I would prefer it to be mastered a little bit.
But to
fiddled with a little bit. I mean, I understand getting a live recording, but I don't know that I'd rather.
A lot of bands are doing that.
Quite as live, and maybe
But there used to be a thing they did.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But I haven't really heard of them doing it more recently. I mean, I don't know if it's still a thing, but
no, they do that. In 2019, they did that when I went to see Vampire Weekend. They sent you a copy of Father the Bride when you bought a ticket.
Then they're again a smaller band, like Dusty was saying. They're not huge.
But
I'm thinking like a huge band or something like that, like someone who would probably get bootlegged.
Again, I think because bootlegs are pretty much dead, and they have been for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just turn on YouTube. Anything you want to.
I mean,
on YouTube, and it's easy enough.
Everything's
to
on YouTube
there for free if you want to do it.
Hey, Jersey girl, long time no see.
But to add on to Nick's comment, bands are doing exclusive vinyl for like tours too. Like I remember I went to see this band Pawn. And they had an exclusive 45 that you could only get at their show. If you go to their show, it was selling it at the merch booth, and you could buy it, and you couldn't get it anywhere else. So I've seen
bands have done that for years.
But they're bringing it back. They're bringing it back now. I've noticed that bands are doing that. they're bringing back the selling exclusive like.
You guys were talking about a T-shirt, and the last show I saw, I don't know when it was exactly, but I can tell you the day it was because it was the day Tom Petty died.
Was that 2016? 17?
I don't know, but it was Bash and Pop, which was Tommy Stinson of the Replacements band. And it was an odd show because Tommy Stinson, the Replacements, had toured with Tom Petty. So Tommy Stinson knew Tom Petty. And here he is playing that night. And, you know, it was a weird vibe. But anyway, the thing, I wanted one of his T-shirts so bad. I went with my brother and another guy, and we all wanted a T-shirt so bad. But none of us bought one because we're like, where would we wear it? Because all the T-shirt said was, "Who the fuck is Tommy Stinson?" And
I would have bought that. I would have bought that.
We're 55-year-old men at this point. Where the hell are we gonna wear a T-shirt that says "Who the fuck is Tommy Stinson"?
At a bar.
A T-shirt.
At a bar.
And he had one. He wore one in the show. That's what he wore. Was a T-shirt.
Oh, he died in 2017.
Okay. Well,
yeah, I was saying 2017 summer. Nick said, "Yeah, Boss Tones did that with 45s that now go for 250 and up." Yeah, when they do something that's really like extremely limited, where it's just for that show, it definitely goes up in price right away. Yeah. Like I was saying, these posters, you know, I really like make it a point to get these posters down. Even if I don't frame them and put them up on my wall, I'll just buy them and put them away. Yeah. You know, because I mean, I have one down there for Chemical Romance. I think it was like last year or the year before, and that thing's already going for like $400 or $500. Yeah. You know, and I $25. One that I regret I did not get was the one that was at when we were young.
Yeah.
They had one which is it was a My Chemical Romance poster where it had a guy sitting in a wheelchair. It's an old man sitting in a wheelchair and he's wearing like the My Chemical Romance Sweet 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge band on his arm and stuff, and it says when we were young and it had the date and stuff. That one's going for over $3,000 now.
Yeah.
That was extremely limited. You know, I mean, this one's going for like 300 now, which is the one that has all the bands on it and stuff like that. Because this one, when this poster first came out and we went on the internet, people thought this was a joke. Yeah, because it had My Chemical Romance, Paramore, all the bands were on it. People thought that was a joke. Yeah. You know, people didn't think that was real. They're like, "Oh yeah, sure, okay, whatever." You know, but
yeah, my posters are worth nothing.
A circus poster from like 1882 doesn't go for that much money.
I mean, I'm pretty sure my poster here that I have is probably only going to go for -0 because it's Greta Van Fleet. Probably not worth a lot.
You never know. I would look it up. You put it in one of these. All you have to do is put it in one of those little cheap frames. You get them at Walmart or Target.
Let me see.
I'm telling you, people will buy it. The thing is, I'm wondering if it's just one of those things where it's not, where eventually the market's going to crash and they're not going to be worth anything.
The market crashes on everything.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's like riding the roller coaster, like with baseball cards and shit like that, you know. You ride the roller coaster up, and if you don't sell it in time, you know, just like stocks, you get fucked, you know. Or not fucked. I mean, you still have your collectible, but it's just not worth as much as you could have sold it for.
Beanie Babies. Everything is turned into a Beanie Baby, basically.
It's not worth a lot.
I don't like it.
How much is it going for?
I don't know.
Beanie Babies.
I have a Greta Van Fleet album. Greta Van Fleet album that's worth $500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the records, I mean, I don't know. You know, I don't own a whole lot of records. I think they're outrageously like worth a lot of money. You know, I mean, I have some worth probably like 3 or 4, but there's not many of them in my collection that are worth that much.
Some will hold their value, but I'm talking about the bands that are popular in the last 5 years that no one will care about 5 years from now. Those are going to.
Well, that's why I got Greta on my wall.
They are. You know, it just, I mean. Case in point. 5 years ago, probably almost nobody was hotter than Mumford & Son.
Oh, yeah.
How are they now? I mean, this is... They did one bad album. You do a bad album, you're done these days.
I'm guilty.
You're done. It's over. Nobody wants to know you. And it wasn't even a bad album. It was just a different album.
You know, I saw Mumford & Sons going back to speaking of the Acoustic Christmas. I saw them one year at Acoustic Christmas, and it seemed like all the kids were just not vibing with them. They were not into them. The kids just like, okay, get them on stage. We want to see, you know, I think the 1975 was next, and people just wanted them off the stage. You know,
Yeah,
like,
you
okay,
can.
yeah. Okay, you're playing your freaking mandolins and shit. Okay, get off. You know, people were not interested.
I'm kicked out of the VC because look what I own.
I own
Oh, there
it
you
too.
go.
I found it. I got it at like Target for like $8 or something like
And
that.
son,
$7.50
this
or
is a
$8.
good album, okay? Don't judge me. It's
Is
a
that
good
the
album.
one with Piff on it? Piff the
Huh?
Magic Dragon is on one of their 2 album covers.
No,
I'm
this
like,
is the
what
one
the hell
with.
is he doing
No.
on a
No,
Mumford
this is the one
Sons
where I
album?
will wait. You ever heard that song? I will wait
Yeah.
wait for you with the.
Yeah, but Piff is on one of their album
There
covers,
is?
one of the first 2. And I'm like, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah, I
Hey,
own
Mike.
this album. I own this album. I know they are considered the Nickelback of folk music. I have accepted it. I have accepted it.
Well, again, they did a non-folk album in that
Oh yeah, their non-folk album is their shittiest album.
And then one of the guys worked with Elvis Costello, and that project didn't go anywhere. I forget.
Yeah,
what
this one
Dylan
here.
Tapes or something
This
like
one
that.
here, Marcus.
That didn't go anywhere either. And then
Yeah.
they were kind of done.
Yeah, well, Marcus did a solo album, and I think he released that last year, so that's out in Target somewhere if you want to buy it. It's never gonna sell out.
Ah.
But yeah, it's a
Mumford
great
& Sons
album.
is. Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
fine. The
saying,
other.
that's just an example of what happens.
Yeah,
You know?
I'll admit it. I spent my money on that album, $20. I'll admit it.
The other day when I went to Goodwill, I saw Creed Human Clay. Yeah, I was going through the CDs. I was like, oh, I'm gonna take this with me. I turned around, and pulled it out to like look and open it, and the CD wasn't in there. Not even somebody's prom pictures. But I was like, oh fuck, I
Oh,
gotta stay.
because I came over there and I stole it.
DVD and I see Albert's prom picture. I'm getting it, man.
Well, for the
Yeah,
record,
just for the
That's
joke.
probably way better than what was supposed to be in the CD.
I spent $3. Spent $3 for prom photos. That's the most I've ever spent for someone's
That's
prom
just
photo.
the way.
That's just the way it is. Some
Things will
things will never
never
change.
be
Poor
right.
Lisa.
I was so excited too.
Mike said, Nickelback of folk music. Laughed my fucking ass off. Nice one, Lisa.
Only I can come up with that.
I know what Lisa's getting for Christmas now. She's going to get a care package. It's going to be freaking Nickelback, Creed.
You know
Mumford.
what? You know what? You know what? The first 2 Mumford and Son albums are fantastic. This one and the one with Little Lion Man. I do enjoy those.
Well,
I do
I think
enjoy
the other
them.
one's the one with Piff on it.
Ah,
He was on America's Got Talent at the time, and I was liking him. I liked
oh,
his
you
attitude.
mean?
And
oh,
then I
you mean-
found out he's on. I looked at my cover. I'm like, there he is. I'm like, what the hell is he doing there?
Wait, you mean the Magic Dragon guy who does magic and sing?
He doesn't sing, but he's the guy. I just liked his attitude, especially on that show because they start to judge his act, and he'd pull out a hot dog or something and start eating while they're talking.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
This guy's got cojones, man.
I know who you're talking. You know who else I like? I like the clown that sang. Puddles the clown. Oh, that's
Yeah, you knew he wasn't going anywhere, but
Yeah.
I actually played one of his songs on a podcast because once a year I do a non-record podcast, and he did a mashup of Folsom Prison Blues and Pinball Wizard, and it was really good.
Uh-huh.
I played that on my podcast.
That guy can sing. He does a great cover of Creep. Yeah. Puddles the
Let me
Clown.
see if I can do this.
But you know, I don't completely hate Mumford and Son. Their first 2 albums were great, and then when they stopped doing folk, I kind of was like, it just.
I don't love them, but they're all right.
I mean,
one or
they're
both. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I have at least one.
yeah.
I don't know if you got a chance to see this, but it was freaking hilarious, Tim. We were laughing about it earlier. Go ahead and show it to Tim. What is up with StreamYard? StreamYard is actually running a lot Smoother now. I wonder what the hell happened. Did somebody actually say something?
Oh yes, my boys.
Okay, guess not.
Paul McCartney really hasn't been bad as that.
Oh, come on.
That sounds like a good one. I never heard that one before. What do you?
Okay, I guess not. But anyways, what ends up happening is since it's not catching up, it turns around and they end up asking, well, what do you think about that? And he's like, oh, well, it's all...
Think
Oh,
it
there
is
you go.
about your music that transcends geographic and language barriers so that those 7 guys would just...
Okay, never mind. Shit.
He didn't actually say he
Well,
hated
he
it
turns
yet.
around and makes fun of him saying... he makes fun of him. He turns around and he's saying, well, the lyrics are easy.
Well, you know,
That's all he really had to
from
say about it.
Yeah.
That's all he
if
really
you
had to
think
say about it.
If you think about it, that's what a lot of non-Beatles fans, they know Hey Jude. Hey Jude is a very common song, easy to sing.
But it was like funny because it's true. That was the only part they knew. All of them were like, nah.
Yeah.
And, Paul McCartney's like, oh, what do you think about your song transcending, generations? And then he's like, oh, well, the lyrics are easy.
Easy lyrics.
Yeah. I was like, all the songs.
When I see him on a show like that, though, I kind of feel bad for some of the, and there aren't that many. He did finally make a lot of shows, but there used to be, back in like the late 80s and 90s, so many people that wanted to get McCartney on their show and tried and tried, and they couldn't do it. And now he goes everywhere, and I feel sorry for those people because, I mean, Conan O'Brien finally got him, but he had to go to McCartney's office in London to get him. But he finally got him at least. And Letterman finally got him, but Letterman had been trying for over 10 years.
I think back in the 80s, Paul was more selective about what show he went on.
Now he's just about plugging anything he can plug.
You either go to Wogan or you go to Michael Parkinson. But I think as time went on, he was like, okay, I think I could.
Well, like I said, now I mean, I love Paul, but now he's just a shill. Now
he is a shill.
Anybody that'll have him to plug whatever he's.
When it comes to Paul McCartney, my favorite thing he's ever done is when he did the carpool karaoke. And I like that, where he just went everywhere and showed his hometown. And then the lady in the barbershop got all excited because she had a Photoshop picture of John getting his haircut by Paul. And she finally had
I don't think you've seen the Conan O'Brien one that he did in '97.
I have not seen that one.
That was really funny because he's talking to Conan O'Brien, and Conan O'Brien's right there. Is like, I see you have all your gold records right here, and then Paul's like, yeah, I got them. It's like, yeah, I bet that if I take one, the alarm will go off like the Gap. And Paul's like, actually, that's where I got these from, the Gap.
I love the Gap. I love the Gap.
And then Conan O'Brien's like, I bet you're always writing a song right now. And Paul's like, yeah, but wait a minute. There he goes. And he's like, oh, you're writing a song right there. Yeah, I was writing a song right there. It's right there in my head.
It's right there in my head.
Can I have credit? Can I have credit since I knew that you were writing a song? Paul's like, no, I won't give you credit.
I'll have to look it up.
It up. My people will sue you.
I think it's just that one time I think Paul McCartney didn't want to oversaturate his brand. Probably is what it is.
And now it's like now he's gone 180, and now he wants it to be anywhere.
I mean, it's safe to say
like I said, I'm nothing against him, but I just feel sorry for the people that wanted him and never really got him.
And never got a chance to get one.
He went everywhere.
He jumped through so many hoops.
Yeah.
To do it.
I mean,
now it's.
I think there's also the thing where he probably knew the questioning that was going to come up. And in the 80s, it was I know the 80s was hard for him because, we just lost John.
Yeah.
He knew what the questions were going to be about,
Yeah.
and so he really wanted to shy away from certain questions. And I think that the people that did interview him back in the '80s were people that knew him well enough to ask him about other things that he was working on, whether if that was like Broad
Yeah.
Street
Hmm.
or something else that he was going to be planning, like doing Flowers on the
Yeah.
Shirt or Press to Play, doing all things not all things best, all the
Yeah.
best kind of thing. So these were people that are going to ask him like other things, but like how you feel right now since John is gone, and he was just
Yeah,
not ready
he probably
to
wanted
talk
people
about
who
that.
asked different questions. That's probably what he wanted because he was probably tired of people asking him the same questions all the time in interviews. Because there's comes to a certain point where you're like, oh, they're gonna ask me that
Well, they were
question
complaining
again.
about that. There was that 48-hour special in like 1990
No.
with McCartney, and the interviewer sitting on a couch in the hotel where McCartney's staying, and
Hey,
Linda's like
Eddie.
in this room upstairs, and she comes out onto the balcony and just starts yelling at the reporter, basically saying, you all ask the same questions. Why don't you come up with something interesting to
Yeah,
ask
I
them?
love that
And
one.
the reporter's sort of like, what the hell?
because they do
I
ask the
have that
same
on
questions.
VHS somewhere. My dad recorded it. I loved it.
I feel like you
But
get to a
Brenda's
certain
right.
point.
Yeah.
You
I
get
think
to
one
a
of the
certain
best
point.
interviews I saw with him was probably, in my opinion, was the Howard Stern one. Because Howard
Oh,
Stern, it seemed like he really
gonna
opened up to
mention that.
Howard Stern about a lot of shit. I
Yeah,
don't know, because it seemed like, when Howard Stern was asking him questions, I don't know if it's the way that Howard Stern was asking him or what it was, but like Paul McCartney just seemed like he was opening up like he was like just having a conversation with someone off the street. He
I
wasn't like
mean,
trying to be a.
Wasn't
yeah.
afraid to ask the
Yeah.
questions he wanted to ask where everybody else is.
because Howard Stern
Yeah.
is, Howard Stern is kind of a host that's not afraid to ask the questions,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
and he kind of is off the cuff, and people kind of feel like with Howard Stern, they can, they can push the boundaries
Because he's not
with
shit, I forgot what.
I mean, you could say he does things for shock value, right, Howard Stern?
Not so much now. Not so much
Yeah,
now in his
used
older
to.
age. I don't think so.
Used
Now that
to.
he's established, I think pretty much now he's established and he knows he's an icon.
Yeah.
So probably not so much now. And I think that was one of the things with him was that I think
He's
when
not
he
a
talked
generic
to
talk show.
exactly, and I think that's what happened was when he went with Paul McCartney, it was like, yeah, Paul McCartney's an icon, but it was like he felt like he was being an equal with him. I think it is like he kind of like had, even though he's probably not an equal, but he still had that kind of an attitude, like he was talking to someone who was his equal,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And I think Paul McCartney caught that vibe.
Yeah.
It felt like he was talking to someone who was, if I'm putting it right,
Well,
I don't know if I would be
Yeah.
putting it right.
Somebody like they're a person
I agree.
rather than talking to somebody,
Yeah.
Mhm.
like they're an icon. I mean,
Mhm.
that's whenever I've ever talked to a musician, I always talk
Mhm.
to him just like a human being. I've never walked up to anybody and go, "Oh, I love your music. I'm such a fan." Never, ever, ever have I done that. I usually say hello. I usually do it just in passing. I rarely even walk up to somebody if I see them. I'll go
Yeah.
like if I see somebody standing at a bar or something, which I have done. I'll go walk up to them next, order a beer or something, and say, "Hey, or like Paul Westerberg. That's how I met Paul Westerberg. He went to the bar to get a drink after the show, and he walked right next to me, and I just said, "Hey, good show," and he's like, "Oh, thanks," and then I talked about the couple of covers he did because that's more interesting to him than talk. Oh man, yeah, I love the Vanity Fair. And then conversation. If you're a fanboy, you're gonna get like 30 seconds, and they'll sign
Yeah.
something for you, and you're done. If you're not a fanboy, but you treat them like a human being, then you talk to them for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is very true what you say. I've seen videos of where celebrities nowadays will not sign things because they're afraid
Yeah.
it's going to end up on eBay
What is
and it's
that?
going to, yeah.
Mhm.
That's Ringo. But yeah, I mean, Paul West. I mean, I probably told you guys this story, but Paul Westerberg wound up inviting me out with him later. He's like,
Wow.
"We're going to a bar down the street. You want to come? Yeah. Okay, I'll see you there." I mean, that's. It's better
I
than
think one
nothing.
of the.
I mean,
I think one of the.
Paul Westerberg bought me a couple beers. That's better than an autograph.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
that's above and beyond. There you go. I think the warmest person I've ever met was Joni Mitchell. And I only had a few words with her because the girl that I was dating at that time was a huge fan. Her and her mother were huge fans. I mean, like, that was like a part of their life, was Joni Mitchell. And we went to a art show up in LA. And I remember she was talking to different people and stuff like that. She was schmoozing, I guess you could say, because she was selling art to people that were like big time, collectors and stuff like that. She wasn't there about the music. She was there about her art. And I remember that, the girl I was dating at the time, I don't want to mention her name because she's like watching, but anyways, she didn't know how to approach her. She said, well, how do I approach her? What do I do? I said, just wait till there's an opening. Just wait till there's an opening and whatever. And she's like, okay. And then it was getting towards the end of the evening. We were going to leave. And I remember she was like standing there. She's like, okay. So she kind of stood off to the side. She's like, okay, because she was talking to more people. And I remember she was talking to, excuse me, the guy from Babe, James Cromwell.
Ah, yeah.
She was talking to him. And he was there talking to her, and I guess James Cromwell caught on that she was sitting there waiting to talk to her, talking to Joni. So she's like, oh, so he turns around, he looks at her. I mean, James Cromwell is fucking class act. He's a great fucking guy. He turns around and he goes, did you want to speak to her, sweetheart? Yeah, and she goes, yeah, I do. He's all, come here. Go, and he pulls her in, with him and Joni Mitchell. And she's like, oh my God. And she just wanted to get like her copy of Blue and her copy of Cloud signed or whatever. And Joni Mitchell like gives her this big hug and like turns around and like signs it for her. And she goes, do you want to take a picture with me, sweetie? You want to take a picture with me? And James Cromwell takes the picture. Wow. He's like, oh, but I just thought it was great that he was just like, did you want to speak to her, sweetheart? So come here, and he pulls her in, but yeah, she was like the warmest person I think that I've ever met. Because everyone else is always, they're kind of standoffish and stuff like that. And they're kind of like, whatever. So like that, like, but like saying what you were saying about the autographs and stuff like that. I had an experience with one of the guys from Incubus where I tried to get him to sign an 8x10, which was a color photo. And he turned around and told me no. He's all, I will not sign that. And I was like, oh, well, it's just for me. He's all, do you have a ticket or something? Give me something else. I'll sign something else. He's all, but I won't sign those. And I was like, why not? And he goes, because those end up on eBay.
Well,
he's all, and I sell autographs like that through our corporation.
If I was a person, I'd be like, tell me your name. And I wouldn't, if I was a big celebrity, I wouldn't sign anything that didn't say too dusty, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Because that lowers the value at least.
It does. Well, because I saw a video recently.
That's how I would sign.
I saw a video recently with David Grohl, and he was telling people outside of wherever he was, like, I don't do autographs anymore unless it's for charity. And these people are like, well, you can make it out to my son. You can make it out to my daughter. And he's like, that's great and all. He goes, but I don't do autographs. And then he ran off into his car. It's like, see ya.
I'd rather, like, I think the nicest celebrity I've ever met is Susanna Hoffs. I spent like 45 minutes talking to her.
I was in love with her in high school. Oh my God.
And yeah, this was, we're talking like 1984, 1985, that period. The very young Susanna Hoffs.
That's like the meat of the Bengals right there. That was like during their like heyday.
Nice to me. The other three didn't even come out, and she came out, and she came out and stood right next to where I was already standing, and that's why I was talking to her. And this line formed to get autographs and things, and I just talked to her the entire time that she was signing autographs. We were having
That's awesome. That is totally awesome.
That was me with 10,000 Maniacs. It was like, so I knew that they were coming down. They're playing Palm Springs Pride. And so I bumped into the bass player, Steven Gustafson, and the keyboardist, Dennis Drew. And I was like saying, hey guys, it's Paulina. And they were like, come with us. And so they took me backstage and they told the security, she's with us. And so I went backstage and I just talked to them, and then the rest of the band was coming out, and I got to meet with them, and they let me hang out with them for about a good hour and a half, and they were offering me drinks, and they signed my Telecaster, which you all remember seeing, and I talked to them about some stuff. I told them, like, hey, I took one of your songs and I rewrote new lyrics to it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we heard that, we loved it. We're glad that you're adapting some of our stuff. And thank you for giving us the credit on it." It's like, yeah, definitely. And I told them about how much they meant to me, and so I even told them that their cover of More Than This really saved my life. And when they performed it, they looked at me and they're like saying, "This song's for you." And so I was like, "That's really that's a really cool band."
And Hey Royce too. I didn't say.
So I love when a band goes
really there
beyond
for their fans.
Yeah, that reminds me of a time when a guy went to a Bombay Bicycle Club show with me, or we were waiting for Bombay Bicycle Club. He had this guitar, acoustical guitar. He had all these bands that signed it. And it was pretty cool when I saw it. I was like, that's pretty cool. He's like, yeah, I go to concerts and they sign my guitar and I have them all on my guitar. And I was like, that's cool. That's cool.
I can't think of the guy's name, but in the little town I live in, one day we're me and my friends like usual are hanging out in the bar, and in walks, I forget his name, the lead singer from Blues Traveler.
John.
Yeah, yeah. And he gets a beer, and they've got this back patio, and he goes out in the back patio, and most of the bar follows him out there. I never went out there. I can just picture the circle of people around him, and he's basking in it or whatever. I just sat in the bar pretty much by myself drinking. And probably an hour and a half later, and my friends went out there too. But probably an hour and a half later, he comes back into the bar to get a drink, walks right up to me because I didn't go out there, and he probably wonders why, So he says, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I started talking about this blues harmonica player that I know called Jason Ricci, and he's like, "Have you ever heard of him?" I'm like, "No." Like I just saw him live a couple weeks ago. Fantastic show, fantastic harmonica player, and next thing you know, he's like, "Can you write it down for me?" And I get a piece of paper and a pen from the bar, and I write down Jason Ricci for him, and and that's how you do it, in my opinion. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
They don't like to be ignored. You ignore them, and they're most likely going to come up to you because they want to be a star. So.
You sure, Greg, man, you don't live in a big country?
Gregstown only has a Walmart and a strip club.
Well, for some, hey, Trekker.
Well, that's about all you need, right?
Trekker. For some
maybe
men,
a McDonald's.
For some men, that is actually the dream. That is actually the life for some men to have a Walmart and a strip club. Not all men.
Roy says, "Hi, Paulina. Thanks for the awesome job co-hosting last night." Nice. Thanks, I did watch that. It was a good show.
I really good show. On it. And you know what I ended up doing last night right after we got done with our stream? I still have my mono revolver out, and it's from the box set. I actually listened to the entire thing last night. It was the first time I ever actually listened to it, and you know what? It kicks ass. I as much as I still love the stereo, I now love the mono.
Yeah, it's more rocking in mono, and there's like 3 or 4 tracks that are good 10 or 15 seconds longer in mono too, which
got to get you into my life.
Especially got to get you into my life. Got to get you into my life goes on an extra like 15 seconds. It's pretty.
I was digging it, but you know what? I realized that the pressing from the mono box set is way better than the pressing in the revolver box set.
I've heard the opposite.
Really?
I don't know. I didn't get the revolver box set, so I don't know. I have a German. I think I told you I have a German original.
Yeah.
Sure about that, Greg, man?
That's what I have. And it's not in perfect condition, but I only paid a couple bucks for it, believe it or not.
Surprising everyone that this is where the actual snowman came from. It came from Dave and his wife Jen. I don't have mine. Mine is still in storage, but everybody else has theirs up here. Do you still have yours? Unfortunately, Tim's lost his nose.
He lost his smeller. Nose, but it grew ears.
He lost his nose to COVID. There we go.
My snowman.
But he grew ears. The vaccination helped him grow ears.
It got knocked off my scalp, and I haven't been able to find the nose.
Oh. Well, I totally understand how you feel, Tim, because he lost his hat and had to glue it with super glue, and then his hand fell off, so it's kind of wonky. My snowman's kind of wonky. Yeah.
We see Geraldo Mustache has its own Wikipedia page.
Really? I need to see this now. I need to look it up on my phone. Let me look it up.
There goes Lisa. Now she's going to be like the Google of the show.
No, I want to look it up. I'm curious.
Frog said, it's all good.
I'm curious because, I like Geraldo Rivera.
But speaking of 10,000 Maniacs, I can't wait for them to come back to California because I don't know if anybody heard, they got 2 new members into the band while 2 other members left. And the 2 new members is Leigh Nash and Matt Slocum of Sixpence None the Richer. So now they're calling it 10,000 Sixpence or something like that.
Damn you, Trevor! I wanted to pay for it.
10,000 Maniacs featuring Leigh Nash. So they're going to be doing a combination of Sixpence songs and Maniac songs together. And they're making a new album too. So
10,000 Sixpence.
I told you guys that I met them once a long time ago before they ever had a hit.
Who, Maniacs or Sixpence?
Maniacs. They played at a bar in Buffalo called Mickey Rats. And my friend Bernie's band, the Mystic Eyes, which was a garage band, opened for them. And so I was +1 on the guest list. And so me and my boss went and we got a drink, and then we went outside to hang out on the patio before the show started. And then all the Maniacs were out there. So we hung out with them. But then I think Green Jelly was playing at the Continental that night. So we watched Bernie's band play and we left. I didn't see the Maniacs play.
When Geraldo got mentioned, that was exactly what I was remembering, Dave. I was thinking about the whole Al Capone vault thing where they turned into an all-night affair where he was there, and they find like a champagne bottle that was empty, and that was about it. A couple of champagne bottles, I think, was all they found. They didn't really find. They're like, will it be money? Will there be bodies? They were like, they just totally hyped it up. Yeah. Jimmy Hoffa.
You should never do those things live. Because you do it live, you're going to fall on your face. I don't think anybody's done anything like that live since.
No. They say that his career never recovered from it, but I was like, yeah, he did.
It didn't.
Didn't he end up on like Fox News or some shit like that?
He's okay now, but I mean, he would still get 30 jobs. I remember seeing him like 10 years ago. Maybe it wasn't even that long ago. He was on somebody's news, and it was a big hurricane somewhere, and they had him as one of those guys out in the hurricane. I'm
Geraldo Rivera. Damn it! Why am I out here in a hurricane?
Yeah, exactly. He was one of those guys.
During Hurricane Hillary, you see like Paulina Flo fly by.
Yeah. Monica liked Hurricane Hillary.
Paulina got the worst of it down there, though. I mean, I think Paulina and Dave may have got the worst of it. I know that down here, I didn't get anything. I kept on waiting to see what was going to happen. Hey, Nikki, how you doing? Yeah, I was over here waiting. I kept on like going, well, what? Are we going to get something? What's going? And I saw the rain come, and I was like, okay, here comes the rain. And I saw some leaves blowing. I was like, okay, here we go. It's coming. And then it stopped raining. I was like, what? And then Lisa's like, oh, I got the rain down here. It's raining. And I'd be like, oh, it's coming. But Paulina was sending us like updates every so often, through Messenger. She was showing us like, the video. And I mean, she had I was like, you're going to need a fucking kayak.
Oh, yeah.
We had a hurricane.
That Friday. Mm-hmm. It hit us Friday. They told us it was going to come Saturday, but it hit us Friday night around 7 o'clock. And that came with high wind and rain, and then about an hour and a half later, we got like about 25 minutes of hail, and so things were just like going off the rails. And then the next day, all the rain just really was coming off. You could see the rain just. I was looking at my neighbor's roof, and you could just see like the rain just go off the surf, and our street turned into like a a river and stuff, and
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
this water is just coming up. It
That's
went
just
almost up the
weather where I
driveway,
live.
and that
Thank
was
you, Nikki.
and that
Thank you,
lasted all the
Nikki.
way up until
What's up,
Sunday, where
Zeb?
we're still getting hit and stuff.
we
And the
we had a
aftermath,
hurricane in 72 called Agnes in our town. It was the first hurricane of the year, obviously, because they name them alphabetically. And my town has never been the same since. It never fully recovered, and that was 1972, and it
yeah,
still hasn't recovered. I mean,
Hey,
my
Waddle.
uncle, my aunt and uncle lived like 2 blocks from our river. Their house was flooded up till halfway into the second floor. Was underwater.
Damn.
Um, that was, and they saved the furniture. They brought the furniture to our house, and we took garden hoses and just sprayed it and sprayed it and sprayed it and scrubbed it and scrubbed it. And they let it dry a few days, and they wound up being their
Yeah.
furniture for another like 5 years, and it was brown. I mean, when you're talking floods, you're not talking like crystal
Yeah.
blue water. You're talking brown mud.
Mhm.
Blech. But it
Yeah.
was, but he got a boat out of it. I don't remember if he kept it or if he sold it. But when he finally went back home, there was a boat in his yard, and nobody claimed it. So he's like, "Oh, I got a boat anyway."
The only thing I was worried about was that right here, because I live like in a townhome,
Mhm.
and our front door. This is the front door, of course, the living room, whatever. There's a pretty good sized crack underneath the door. It's not sealed, and I was like thinking. I was like going, okay, well, I was like looking at like the front of it, how it's landscape and stuff like that. And I was like going, okay, if the water rises, am I going to get water coming inside the house? Because that's what I was scared of. And I was like thinking, because I have like a lot of collect shelves upstairs that I have the bulk of my records, but I have records down here too. As you can see, I have them behind me, and you can see like there's not much of a lip on that collax. You know, I was like thinking, man, it gets flooded. I'm going to lose all these records right here, you know. And then on this shelf over here, I have CDs that are all the way down to the floor. You know, so I was like thinking, am I gonna have to take all these out? But you know,
We had people that
I don't have
lost.
anything.
Yeah.
Everything.
I wasn't.
The
I
house I
wasn't
lived
worried.
in, we didn't get we got
Mhm.
lucky-ish. We had a
Mhm.
basement that was an unfinished basement, basically a big dugout piece of dirt under our house.
Yeah.
Our
Mhm.
furnace stuff was down there. And when we left, we went to my grandparents' house because we were told to evacuate. And we were there like 2 or 3 days, and came back home, and it was cold after. This was June, and it was good. It was probably 50 degrees out the day it ended. It got cold.
Yeah.
And we walk into our living room, and this is how close we were to being flooded. Our living room carpet was like very damp. Like if you do a little water sprang up if you stepped on the carpet. Our basement was that flooded. It was within, nothing of coming
Mhm.
into our house, and it didn't. We got so lucky, but it was cold, right? But all of the water was gone by the time we came back.
Mhm.
So my dad said to me, my brother,
Excuse
and
me.
my little sister, who was like just born, was a
Mhm.
baby, like go down the street like at least a block, and I'm not kidding, because he went downstairs and wanted to light the furnace, but he's like, we don't know. I mean, this furnace has been underwater. Lord knows
Okay.
what's gonna happen. He's like, my mother's like, no, no, and he's like, we have to have heat. The It was a state of emergency. You're not. It's not like you're calling the electric or gas company. They're gonna come look it over. Maybe in like 2 months, But so he's like, so he made us go, up at least a block. And he stood there on
Mhm.
the road and watched us get far enough away. He's like, no, keep going. and went down there, and it lit. And he comes back out, and he's like, come on back. And it lit, and it dried the carpets, because we had to dry everything out, because every carpet in the house was damp.
Jeez.
And my mother had a best friend that lived like 2 blocks from us, where we should have gotten flooded first.
Uh huh.
And she took all of her furniture. She had brand new furniture, hired a van, put all of her furniture in a van, and moved it to a warehouse downtown. She didn't get flooded, but the warehouse downtown got completely annihilated, and she lost
Jeez.
everything. because
Crazy.
I think
Yeah.
it all depends on where exactly is your house at, because I don't know if you guys are uphill or downhill where you live, Dusty and Lisa.
I'm downhill.
The thing with us is the Coachella Valley is below sea level,
Okay.
so anything, so flooding will happen if we get like a lot of rain that we're not anticipating. And the thing is about like our areas, like we don't get these kind of rains that often, so we try our best to stay prepared, but we could do our best, but it still will happen
Well,
because
Yeah.
of
that's what
our
I kept on watching on the
irrigation.
news. They kept on saying that you in the desert and the mountains were going to get all of the
Yeah.
concentration of rain
Oh,
and the concentration of flash flooding and everything else, and that it wasn't going to really be us and stuff like that. But they, I mean, I think me myself personally, I know that you got the worst of it over there, but I feel like it did get kind of overhyped over here.
It did.
You know,
it did.
they kind of
We
like
got
tried scaring
nothing.
us because
Yeah.
we really didn't get much. But then I kept on
No.
seeing the films that you are the videos you were showing us. You were sending us. I was like going, damn, they're getting hit hard. You know what I would consider hard for California. I was like going, okay, I figured that was hard, but yeah, I was just like,
Yeah,
well,
and there's still houses that people are still working on getting like water and mud out of their living rooms and stuff like that. Because there's like a house that he showed in Cathedral City that totally got a lot of rain inside of it to the point that it just went like, let's say this is the floor and then this is like how it was inside the house. So there are still like houses that are still getting repaired. There's still roads that are still getting repaired. Our, like I said yesterday, our railway system is still, getting, it's still repaired. It's getting repaired. It's going to be like 2 months till that is up and running because there's so much mud that went alongside that area. There's a road down this way from where I live that needs to get rebuilt as well. So.
When we had our flood in '72, we have 3 bridges over our river. We lost 2 of them. Houses floating down the river took them out. I mean, it's only going to take out the first bridge it hits, because then the bridge goes and the house breaks in half, and then it either sinks or at least it's low enough to go under the next couple bridges. But yeah, 2 different houses took out. One took out the first bridge, one took out the next bridge, and the last bridge stayed up because the only 2 houses went down the river, and the other ones went under it.
Nikki, didn't you guys recently, like right after us, I think it was like the day or 2 after us, have a natural storm front or have a hurricane going through your neck of the woods? I could have sworn I had read something about that, like right away you guys had like something coming through your neck of the woods.
Well,
Yeah.
I think she's in Pennsylvania. So it was like Florida, up that way.
No, we had really hard rain. Actually, last night and this morning, just buckets. I mean, it woke me up out of a sound sleep. It was raining so hard.
Yeah. I mean, we are very fortunate.
I've had hard rain, like, really hard rain, like 3 times in the last 2 weeks. Sometimes it just dumps on us. I've had 2 feet of water in my basement before. I replaced my washer, my dryer, my hot water heater, my furnace.
Isabel was pretty bad. Isabel was really bad. I remember watching that. I remember watching like Angry Grandpa's Son, Kid Behind a Camera and stuff like that. We went through their area and stuff like that. I remember watching that. That was a pretty bad one. Who was not to dig up like old trauma, but who was the person in the VC who lost her whole collection in the basement?
That was Steve Carlson.
Steve Carlson. He was when
he was in Michigan. He was in Michigan.
Now, did that have anything to do with the hurricane, or was that just an unfortunate incident, like a water heater or something in it?
No, it was a flood. It was a flood. It was
Okay.
a flood in Michigan, and he lost his collection. I even donated to that when it happened. We all rallied together he lost 10,000 records.
Oh my God.
I don't. How flooded was it that he lost?
He was his record collection was in the basement.
Well, I get that, but I mean, most of the time your basement doesn't fill up
Well,
unless it's a really bad flood.
no,
Like
yeah, it was a bad flood.
Really,
It was a
really, really bad.
it was a bad flood. And to answer Nikki's question, I'm doing good. I've been, taking care of my niece 4 days a week. She's a handful today. She threw some eggs at me. So yeah, it's been quite a day.
I know quite a few people that have lost like the bottom shelf of their records, keeping it in the basement.
No, he lost. He lost a
That's
lot.
coming. Why don't you just take them out before it happens?
Well,
because over just in case.
Yeah, because I don't know why. I don't know why he didn't think to do that, but he lost 10,000 records. And it was if you look on my channel, I think there's a video on my channel somewhere where we all made videos in support of Steve Carlson. That happened in 2000 and I want to say 18. That happened 2018.
Yeah. By the time I came to the VC, it was something that they had talked about. It was like
I keep
lore,
I can't
basically.
Anything in my basement. My basement.
Yeah, but he has since then. He has since then not kept stuff in his basement. Steve Carlson has learned, I guess, not to keep things in his basement anymore.
Or I mean, you have to be prepared, and you don't put anything at a certain that's really valuable at beyond a certain depth or whatever, and stuff like that.
Yep.
I would think,
Yeah.
But, that was the only thing I was worried about during this one was because like I've never experienced a hurricane or a tropical storm or whatever. So I was just kind of worried about this bottom row of records here. That's all I really had. And the bottom row, I have another shelf here. Bottom row records there. So I was like going, okay, well, if I see the rain's really starting to pick up and it's really bad, I'll just go ahead and move those records, put them up on the couch or on a table or something.
I wasn't worried at all, man. I was walking down that rain like, come at me, rain, because I wasn't worried. Southern California overhyped that rain, and it wasn't even that hard.
Mm-hmm. So
there's this thing that happens every time that it rains over here that I will go outside and just let it hit me as if I'm Andy Dufresne and.
No, are you gonna play?
This time around, when it was raining, it was coming out so hard that I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go outside after all. It's too dangerous out there.
A lot less than Tim. I have probably maybe about the 8 cubes. I have 3 upstairs, 1 down here. So I don't know how many that would be. I don't know. I remember one time we were like kind of like trying to count it because this one still has some gaps in it. The other ones upstairs are like packed, and then I have some records on the floor. Not a whole lot, but they're like standing up. I don't just like leave them on the floor. I'm like one of those people that's like everything has a place. It's like I have to have everything in a place, or else I can't stand it.
I only have 1 8 cube shelf, and I feel like I have a lot. I have 1 8 cube, 1 4 cube, a 2 cube, a 1 cube, 2 1 cubes, and that's it. That's what I have in my record.
Because Tim has what we see here behind him, but he also has another room.
What you see behind that's just my various artists.
Yeah.
And I actually have a few that don't even fit in that. That's full now, and I have a few that
And then Paulina has hers hiding behind the curtain right there. Behind the flag.
Right here, the majority of them right here. I have some right there, and then some right here.
The top 2 rows of my of this, that's almost all just garage rock compilations.
You know what it is?
That's as many records as some people have, and that's just garage. Garage comps.
Nick, I think I am probably OCD to a certain extent because the thing is that like I won't collect beyond, being able to have functionality because if I can't get to it, if I can't get to it and I can't live, it's like otherwise I don't want it. It's like I get to a certain point where I'm like, okay, I can't store these records neatly. I can't get to them when I want them. I don't want anymore. It's like everything has to be functional. Like with the stereo equipment, it has to be functional. It has to be in a place I can get to or whatever easily.
I have enough room to store them if I have time to store them, but I don't really want to take time.
You got Taylor Swift? Well, you see Nikki? There you go, Nikki. I took a picture for you. That's kind of the sum of my collection right there.
Oh, no. Not the Taylor Swift. The little Zebby has to go to bed. Good night, little Zebby.
Do not tell me to bring out my Taylor Swift record.
Night, Mr. Zebby.
Good night, Zebby.
Oh, no, the Swifties are out.
You need to calm down.
Not the Swifties.
You
Need to calm down.
You know what? We are good people. We are good people, and Swift is keeping the vinyl surgeons alive.
No,
I thought it was the Smiths, Lisa.
The Swifties.
I thought it was the Smiths.
I started a war now. I started a
people
war.
That didn't go to record store day because of Taylor.
Yeah.
I started a war. I started a war. Me and myself.
There you go. I am Hot Frog said Tim lives in the old governor's mansion. He has his records organized by room.
Yeah, I wish.
So you don't organize your records, Tim, by autobiographical?
No, I don't do it autobiographically. I can't. I wish I could. I wish I knew. I wish I could remember every single record where I got it from. There was a time I could.
I don't. I don't.
Anymore.
I don't know about you, but Greg is feeling 62.
62.
That's kind of funny.
You're making me laugh, Trekker. Man, Trekker is hilarious.
Taylor's talented. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to take that stand. She's talented, but not for me.
Yeah, exactly.
She irritates me, but her music's just not for me. You know what it is? It's just that, like, when she first came out, she was winning all the awards. She just did these. She first did it, I'll admit it was cute. When she'd be like, oh, she'd be all excited about winning because she was new. You know, she was experiencing it all for the first time. Yeah. But after a while, you could tell she was not it. She knew she was going to win. You know, some of the people she was going up against is like, oh, that person don't have a chance against Taylor Swift. But she would still do the whole like, no, me? Did they call my name? Am I dreaming? You know, she just over fucking did it. You know, that's where I just like, I was done with it, and she still does it to this day. I
haven't watched an award show in probably 20 years.
There you go.
It has my name on it too. So
I won the actual kiwi. No, yeah. Or is that a hibiscus?
Or you're from New Zealand?
I don't know, but I got this award from FEMA. So
nice. Yeah. But it kind of looks like a hibiscus to me. But hibiscus is pretty. Let me see what it might say here about. Let me see. Paulina Taylor Swift announced the next album. She's 1989.
I know, and I pre-ordered it.
The Taylor version.
It'll be in my hands.
I don't understand that whole thing. Sorry, I don't.
The reason why Taylor Swift is doing Taylor's versions because Scooter Braun stole the right to her music, so Taylor Swift.
I get all that, but you know, I mean, they artists sign certain contracts, and you know,
it's pretty impressive. FEMA
expecting all your fans to buy things again because you got ripped off isn't really fair to your fans.
Oh, wow. But you know, Taylor Swift fans, we will gladly do that because we are that crazy and we are that lunatic.
That's great, you know, but I don't.
Okay, here's my problem with Taylor Swift right now at the present moment. My new pick at her, okay, is that right now I feel she holds a lot of power in her hands. Mm-hmm. A lot of power. She has a lot of financial power. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're saying that her tour is actually influencing, you know, the economy. You know, she could go ahead and call the shots with people like Live Nation and Ticketmaster, and she could make a stand, and she could really change things. Her and Beyonce. But I feel like they bullshit us, and they're not going to do anything about it. You know, that's the way I feel about it. I feel like she could really say, like, you know what? No, I'm Taylor Swift, and I whatever, and I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, and either you're going to change it or we're going to work something else out because she has the power to do it.
Yeah, let me speculate here. I know nothing. This is pure 100% speculation, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's getting a fairly large her and everybody else that's huge, getting a fairly large under the table cut of the Ticketmaster money as well as the money that she's getting.
They're being lobbied. They are being lobbied big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
It's all I said this last night in the comments. I don't remember if I actually said it on the panel or not, but I've come to the conclusion in the last couple of weeks that, and it's not just film. I started out thinking just film, but now I think everything. I think art is dead. in the world, pretty much. Art is dead. Art has become commerce.
But you know what, though, if you think about it, Tim, a lot of people said that during the 70s, though, too, when all the mega groups were coming out, the super group stuff.
It's way different. But in the 70s, people were still caring. People still made albums and movies because that were good. You know, not just to make money. Now a movie studio will pump $300 million in the movie, and they could know they have the worst piece of crap ever created, and they're still going to put it out there and hawk it and that never happened before. They tried. You know, everybody used to try. Yeah, they wanted to make money, but they used to try to put out the best product they could, and I don't think that's the case anymore.
Yeah.
I really don't.
This is true. New Rolling Stones album is dropping in October. I was watching, somebody had a meme where they had a picture of Mick Jagger right next to Biden. Was it Biden they were doing it, or was it somebody else who was really, really old? I forgot who they were showing.
It was Turtle Man. I call him Turtle Man.
Mitch McConnell.
Okay, yeah. There it was, Mitch McConnell, not
his
Biden.
His name is Turtle Man.
And like the picture they have of like Mick Jagger, he's all like, you know, doing the Mick Jagger, you know, so he's like, yeah, stuff like that. And then you have Mitch McConnell's like,
well, we know which one. We know which one's getting laid, and that's Mick Jagger.
I still think that a golden opportunity has been missed. I think Keith Richards, think about it. This is a full band right here. Keith Richards, Mick Jagger, Ronnie Wood, Paul McCartney, and Ringo Starr should do a Rolling Beatles album. I mean, that's a band right there. You got a drummer, you got a bass player, you got 2 guitar players, you got a couple of vocalists. Do an album, the Rolling friggin' Beatles.
Why not? Why not?
Why not? You know, what do you got to lose? You know, I mean,
it's not like it's not going to sell. You know, if they did a few shows, not like they wouldn't completely sell out.
Stones and the Beatles that aren't alive anymore. Each band fills those positions perfectly.
Yeah.
You know, the Beatles lost their 2 guitar players, and the Stones have lost their bass player and their drummer.
Let's see. Elton John sold $900 million in ticket sales since 2019, all-time highest grossing. Take that, Taylor. He actually was in the hospital a couple of nights ago. I think it was like maybe last night. He had taken a fall. They said he's fine. They said, you know, he's already back home, but yeah, he took a fall. He's getting older. Or he's getting old. How old is he now?
About 80.
He's got to be about 80, yeah. By the way, I tried to say this earlier, but everybody was talking. I didn't. I just wanted to say R.I.P. Parkinson, who died like a week ago or something like that.
Oh, that's right.
You didn't hear much about it. You know, that people were talking about shows McCartney liked to do. Parkinson was definitely one of them. And yeah, he died like a week ago, I think. Something like that.
And also R.I.P. to my childhood, Bob Barker. I used to spend many days when I was off from school watching Bob Barker.
Yeah, but there's been tons of videos about Bob. And Bob Barker was nearly 100. Parkinson was in his 80s, I think. He wasn't.
Yeah.
He was like Betty White, was he, Barker? He was like, how 99. Far away was he from his 100th birthday? Was it months?
December,
well, of course it was months, but
I think
December?
Somebody was saying December, I think.
Yeah, December would have been his 100th.
That is damn close.
Elton John 76. Okay, I was.
You know, they were talking about how since they were talking about Bob Barker's age, they were talking about people that were in their 90s, and they were talking about Mel Brooks is in his 90s. I think he's like 94, 95, and then they were talking about William Shatner is like 92, and they were saying, how the fuck does William Shatner at 92 look like he's 60? He's still running around. He sold his soul to the devil. I swear he did.
I used to call my uncle though. I told my uncle he looked like William Shatner.
You know what amazes me? How time flies. Shatner and Nimoy were the same age, and Nimoy died when he was 80. Nimoy's been dead like 12 years.
Yeah,
impossible to me. It seems like he died not that long ago. They were both 80 when Nimoy died.
But you know, Leonard Nimoy was a heavy smoker though too. Yeah. He was a heavy smoker his whole life. I mean, he never really had pictures. I mean, it never seemed like the paparazzi really caught him with cigarettes or took pictures of him really smoking, but it was well known. He was like, he smoked for many, many years. Heavy. Hot Frog said, I think she may be president someday. She's still a little too young to run this go around, but next time Swifty 2028.
You know, Hot Frog. You know, Hot Frog. I gotta say something about that, Hot Frog. I like Taylor Swift, but hell no. Hell no will you be president. We need
Ariana
someone
Grande
who
and
actually
Demi
is
Lovato
good.
dropped Scattered Brown is that's interesting.
Yeah, and Justin Bieber is set to drop him too because the manager Scooter Braun has a lot of problems.
Some kind of controversy?
Yeah,
some
controversy.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know what the controversy is, but they've been with him for 10 plus years. Ariana Grande and Demi Lovato and
It's
Justin
like
Bieber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Justin Bieber. Scooter Braun founded Justin Bieber when he was like 14 years old in Canada.
I mean, don't these guys realize that everything they do is going to come to light? It comes to light sooner or later. It's like these guys act like they're all like, you know, bulletproof, and they're never going to get caught for stupid shit they do.
I mean, his wife divorced him. Scooter Braun. So there's more
Elton turned 76 in March. Oh, Vital Kiss corrected you. It's not Turtle Man. It's Turkey Neck.
Oh, well, I like Turtle Man better because he looks like he looks like
Elton
Dana.
must have been really young when he started because he started recording in like 67. So he was only 76. He must have been younger than I thought he was.
Well, in Rocket Man, did they show that he was like a teenager or something like that when he first started? It's kind of.
I have it. I bought it for 99 cents at my Salvation Army, but
I liked it. A lot of people didn't like it. I liked it. I mean, it was kind of like, you know, it skimmed over like major events in his life and stuff. But
I haven't watched the Queen one yet either. I bought that for 99 cents too. I've only seen parts of the Queen one.
Yeah.
You know, when the Queen one first came out, when Bohemian Rhapsody first came out, people loved it. People were like talking about it. It was like the greatest biopic of all time. I'll say, and then like as time has gone on, people have picked it apart. You know, this didn't happen. That didn't happen. That didn't happen like that. Well, of course it didn't. You know?
It was on one night when I was working overnights in our break room. It was on for like 15 minutes. We were in there. And just the 15 minutes I saw, I was like, what the hell? And I'm like, I have no interest in this. Because they were recording Crazy Little Thing Called Love, right? And then one of this, Mercury gets this ID and he starts clapping his hands. Boom, boom, boom. That was 2 years earlier. I'm like, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
Why do you have to change that? I mean, what? I was just like,
and plus the thing about the AIDS, he didn't come out that he had AIDS until 1987, and he comes out with AIDS before Live Aid.
Yeah, and I believe them. Everybody in the band said they didn't even know. I mean, they suspected, but
I mean, didn't he announce his like AIDS diagnosis like around 1985?
No,
or maybe a little later.
I think it's like Paulina said. I think it was like around 87. And I think he waited until he was starting to show his illness. I think.
Yeah.
Because he passed away.
I always heard that the last album that they did, he would record like for a couple hours a day, and that's it. And he'd be sitting in a chair most of the time, and he could only record a couple lines at a time. Then you have to go sit down, and he was in rough shape by then.
Because he left a lot of his estate money to Mary, right? Because Mary was his one true love and he left a lot of money to her. But then the guy they lived with for 20 years, Jimmy Hutton, or I think that's his name, wrote a book about it, a tell-all, after he passed away.
Yeah, he wrote that he wasn't trying to be bitter, you know, but he was writing about how like she really shut him out after like Freddie died, and he was like really she was of course the love of Freddie's life. Yeah, but he really loved Jimmy though too.
Yeah, he really did. They lived together for 20 years, so he did.
And I think her son controls the whole Freddie Mercury estate. Wow. I don't even think she controls it now. I think the son does. Wow. So every time you buy a Queen t-shirt, every time you buy something of Freddie Mercury, a little Funko Pop and shit, the son's getting the money, I think. Yeah. Which wasn't even his kid. You know, her kid, you know.
No, but he liked that kid as if it was his own kid. He adored.
I mean, he adored them. So I mean, it's all good, I guess. You know, because he didn't have any children of his own.
No,
I don't
he
think
didn't.
they even adopted. Him and Jimmy didn't even adopt. But
No, him and Jimmy didn't adopt, but I think him and or they were gonna
yeah.
be married.
Yeah, the thing is, though, I mean, like Tim has mentioned it before, though. It's like, I think they kind of like just have to squish it all together. It's like how you have to fit everything into an hour and a half. So yeah, the timelines are going to be all skewed.
But I mean, Crazy Little Thing Called Love is 2 albums after that. I mean, why do you have to mess with the chronology that much?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you one thing. Even though, like Bohemian Rhapsody and Rocket Man and all these kind of biopics are not that good, there's nothing that can compare it to the monstrosity that is and will always be the Buddy Holly story. The Buddy Holly story was shit. And
don't even get me started on that monstrosity, okay? Don't even get me started.
The reason why it was shit is because one thing, the entire story was wrong. There's no guy named Jim Bob on bass and all that kind of stuff. That, they got the entire band. They forgot a lot of people that was important to the Buddy Holly story, and so it was so bad that the surviving members of the Crickets went up to Paul McCartney and said, like, can you do something for us? Can you make like an actual Buddy Holly story? And so Paul did. He made a real Buddy Holly story.
Sure, I guess.
Sure, I can.
Fantastic.
Did you ever see the episode of Celebrity Rehab where like Gary Busey showed all of them? They sat around and they watched the Buddy Holly story, and he was like so into it and stuff. And it's like all the rest were kind of like looking at it like.
No, every time I see that movie, I just see Gary Busey's big teeth sticking out. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't think La Bamba was much better.
Oh, I like that movie. I liked it.
I'm sorry. I'll defend La Bamba.
I will.
I don't, especially.
I will too.
And to me, Gary Busey looks a lot more like Buddy Holly than what's his name looked like Richie Valens.
Lou Diamond Phillips.
Richie Valens was a big guy.
Yeah, that is true.
Chubby.
He was chubby.
Big,
he was heavy. He was a chonky dude.
95-pound guy playing him, and I'm like, he was a big guy.
That is a loaded question there, Nikki. What is the most valuable record there is? That's a loaded question. You could end up asking 30 different collectors and get 30 different answers with that one.
What's the most valuable record in a collection? Or what's the most valuable
record there is? I mean, there's a lot of people. I mean,
didn't Jack
different
White
levels of.
Didn't Jack
White
buy
are you talking about
the
Sun
Elvis
record?
Acetate? Yeah, he
You're talking
bought
about that Elvis Acetate?
That was pretty expensive for $200,000.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. It wasn't an acetate. It was actually, wasn't it something he just recorded for his mom?
Probably,
a song he had recorded for his mom or something like that, like in one of those, like, I guess he had saved up the money, and I think it recorded Sun Records, like he saved up the money and went there and recorded it for his mom or something like that, right?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I got it.
Because that was their main business. They had a record label and stuff, but their main business was people walking in.
I got your answer, Nikki.
Records for $15 or something.
I got your answer, Nikki.
Business. And Elvis came in, and they always like made a copy for themselves or whatever, and they heard it, and they went, "Get this guy on the phone."
You remember?
Elvis came from.
You remember when that asshole guy named Martin Shkreli bought that $2 million Wu-Tang
Good answer,
Clan?
Nate. Good answer. That CD?
Yeah, that $2 million Wu-Tang Clan. Yeah.
And then they were telling what he was going to do. Then he was like saying, "I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to leak it on the internet for everyone to hear," or something like that. There's a whole documentary on YouTube about it. I think me and you actually watched it.
Yeah, we did.
One time. Yeah.
We did. It was bought by some
some hipster, some freaking
NFT company.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was like, some NFT company owned by some hipster, something of that sort. That's a very good question. That's a very good answer. I'm sorry, Nathaniel, Nikki's question. The one that means the most to you. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd probably be the best answer.
One of them is that beetle acetate that got lost for 20 years that they recorded, and they handed it around to each one, and one of them just kept it, and you know,
Mhm.
it turns
Hey, Boris.
In spite of all the
still
danger,
hasn't ever seen the light of day. I mean, they know where it is, but it's never been released in any
I'm
form.
thinking. Am I thinking about the one that was recorded in Paul's like home or something like that when he was a kid or something like that?
I
Is that
think
the
it
one
was
I'm thinking
recorded
of?
in a rudimentary studio, I think.
Okay,
So
well,
very,
yeah, what
I think
he's
of the wrong
talking
one.
about is the acetate
Uh-huh.
of That'll Be the Day and In Spite of All the Danger. And
Oh,
what
okay.
happened was it was a thing where they passed it around, and I think for years it was in the possession of, I think it was P. Shotton, who was part of the
Mhm.
Quarrymen, who
I thought there was
owned it,
another one after
or
that
could
one.
have been another one, but one of those
Yeah.
guys had it, and then they contacted Paul McCartney back in the 70s, and they said, like, hey, we still have this acetate. Do you want it? Paul
Easy.
took it, and the way that I know it is because if you watch the real Buddy Holly story, you see Paul with a record player in his barn playing that acetate of them doing That'll Be the Day.
But I don't think that's the one I'm thinking of. I think there's another one.
I'm looking it up. The most
Because that's
expensive.
on
Hey, Walrus.
anthology, and I'm pretty sure this happened way later.
Hi,
than
AZ.
anthology
Hey,
got
Trish.
discovered.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the most expensive record that was ever sold was the Beatles album owned by Ringo, the White Album.
Unless you're talking about some of these acetate demos that they used to do, like there's a 63 acetate of John doing What Goes On or something.
No, this is early days, but I think there's another one besides. I might have my stories mixed up, but I know that there's a Beatle acetate that turned up in the last like 10 years.
Yeah.
But I don't know
It
what
might
it is.
be
Never
What Goes On.
resurfaced.
It might be What Goes On, because I think
Yeah.
Parlogram Auctions did a video on it.
It hasn't ever resurfaced.
Interesting. There's a Beatles record.
Have you heard the
Wow.
63 Stowe School concert? Because it's on YouTube now.
If anyone was going to find that at Goodwill, Nikki, it would be either Doc Dawkins or it'd be Tim. Trust.
Yeah.
I can see.
Nah.
I can see. Guess what I found for 29 cents? Like.
Yeah,
I found
I
an
did
acetate of the Beatles.
hear about that recording. I think it was Joe. It was Joe did a video about it.
Yeah, I downloaded it. I've got it on MP3 now. But the thing is, I don't think it could be cleaned up good enough to release. I don't think so. It's
No, the
worse than the Hamburg
The
tape.
vocals are way too thin.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
any
I remember that.
Oddly,
program to
the
capture it.
the vocals you can hear the most are Ringo's, which is usually the opposite. Ringo is usually the one you can't hear, but Ringo's the one you can hear the most.
I totally remember that Star Trek. He was like, "Did you get the album signed, Chumley?" He goes, "Yeah, I did." And then he goes and he says, "You stupid idiot! You are not supposed to get it signed to you." And he goes, "You can have the record, Chumley. You can have the record. I don't want it."
Cool.
Cool.
But I still think it's funny the way Tim says he just decides he's gonna go out, go and get Bob Dylan's autograph. He just 5 minutes later runs.
Yeah, he's gonna go in 5 minutes. Oh, there's Bob Dylan there.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, but this show is reality TV. This
I mean, wasn't
faked in any way.
Mhm.
and the record he
There
signed
is.
was he signed the Portrait
Blonde
album
on
or
Blonde?
something.
Was it?
I think it was the Portrait
No, not
album.
Blonde on Blonde. It was the Portrait album. I was thinking
was
Blonde
like-
on Blonde. I don't know why.
That's a good album, Blonde on Blonde. But I was like, man, dude, you could have made some money.
Maybe it's that ultra rare half speed mastered record of Billy Vanilli. No, that album's going to be that's going to be the next UHQR.
Well, according to the top 10, number 1 is the RZA album with Wu-Tang Clan. Number 2 is Ringo's copy of White Album.
Okay.
That went for $790,000.
How much did the first one go, the Wu-Tang? How much did they pay for that
Let me
CD?
see. Okay.
Was it like a jewel encrusted, freaking
Once Upon a
box?
Shaolin?
Yeah.
$2 million.
Yeah, there you go. I knew it was
2015.
something really, really
And
outrageous.
then there were some other Beatles ones on here too. There's a Sgt. Pepper's that went for $290,000.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Did it say why?
If the signatures of one Beatle was enough, there's a record, a classic one at that signed by all 4 members is bound to get the arms raising and birds flowing. So it was signed by all the members. This
that shouldn't be enough to
yeah, because I mean, there's people out there who have like all 4 autographs. I mean, not many, but they're out there.
And then there's
Roadshow had all 4 Beatle autographs.
Yeah, and then there's the one that
and on one piece of paper. It wasn't on an album, but it was on a piece of paper, on the same piece of paper.
I don't get why this double fantasy went for a lot. There's a double fantasy that went for $150,000.
Was it the one that he autographed when he was shot?
Yeah, was it Mark David Chapman?
Yeah, I think it was Mark David Chapman's copy.
It.
Yeah,
that's the final autograph.
That would be John Lennon's last autograph, probably.
The one that
I think it actually has his blood on it too.
Yeah,
I think his blood's actually on it too. Yeah,
and it's kind of weird that they have the Aphex Twin. I'm like, wow, Aphex Twin. Never expect them to be expensive.
Probably another one of those kind of like NFT situations or something like that. You know.
It's
kind of like the Wu-Tang album.
It's their album called Holistic Window. Good album, but it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. That's interesting. Now, I'm wondering if there's any people out there who actually end up having autographs of all the members. I mean, of course, probably excluding Ringo if they had it at that time. Where all of them had even thought to get them to autograph something where they had Stu and they had fucking Pete.
I mean,
that would be interesting.
If you think about it, there's that one girl. You ever saw that what is it? I mean,
you can get Pete's autograph for a freaking hot dog now at a convention, but I'm just saying, at the time, they had his autograph.
No, there was that one girl. Stu. There was that one girl that probably had all the autographs. Frida. She's the one that was the fan club president, I think, of the Beatles. She probably had them.
You think she had Stu and she had Pete too?
Not Stu. It would have been hard to get something from
not Pete,
considering that he wasn't anything yet. I think maybe the only thing that would be worth a lot of Stu is probably some of his paintings.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any painting. I don't think any of his paintings are in the hands of any private collectors, are they? I would think there have to be, because there's a lot of Beatles collectors with money who would probably pay the right amount.
It all depends on if Astrid ever sold them, which I think Astrid would have kept them.
Apparently, he did some of his best work on just walls and stuff that's never gonna, in her house. The whole walls that were his paintings, and.
Unless they pull like a Banksy where they just go ahead, like when he would like draw on a wall and they would actually freaking cut the whole wall out and shit.
So that's worth a lot. But how about an autograph from Jimmy Nichols? How much is that worth?
Hey, Pinky.
How much is an autograph from Jimmy Nichols worth? He's been back for like 2 weeks.
I will say this: if you had an autograph from Jimmy Nichols, and you could prove that you got it in like the 2 weeks that he was a Beatle, it'd probably be worth some money.
Well, he's always
while he was a Beatle, because it would have been very hard to get.
Tim, you can get an autograph from him. You can get an autograph from him. He's on James' stream every week. Jimmy Nichols, a Pitbull.
I bet you if we really push, we'd probably get him and Pete Best on our freaking panels. Sure, why not? Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm Pete Best. I used to be a Beatle.
Best Band was on Offbeat Cinema one time, which is a late night movie show in Buffalo that shows old public domain movies. But that's saying that he's nobody, probably, right? I only know of 2 bands that were ever on there. Pete Best was one of them, and Paulina. You know who the other one was?
Who?
10,000 Maniacs were on Offbeat Cinema.
There you go.
They're the only 2 bands I ever saw on there. It was Pete Best.
I'm being funny. I'm being funny. Don't mind me. I'm joking.
Jimmy is good when I like when he's on James's stream, because he goes ahead and he does things that are a little bit of adventurous and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, it was funny, the last time he was on James's stream, he was doing the lecture thing. And he was like filming the lecture, and you could tell he was filming the lecture just for us to laugh at it, because it was so freaking dead. He wasn't being like serious, like, oh, listen to what they're saying. He was just like, like,
it was funny. I was laughing my butt off. It was funny.
There was like 5 people in there. I'm like, oh, look, it looks like one of my streams. 5 people in there listening. I was like, oh, tracker. There you go. He's like, oh, K-pop signed albums are worthless.
Well, Trekker, not if they're BTS and they're signed by all 7 members. They are not worth it.
I could go to Target and probably buy a freaking album.
No, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't, Punk.
Because all the fans
No, you can't, Punk.
in these great big packages, so you can't steal them.
They got a huge fan, yeah.
I have some signed K-pop albums, and they're probably worth some money because I have one with a guy who passed away. And,
now that is a good question. How much is it worth?
That's a question. That's a question for eBay. Oh
Let me
my
see.
God.
He probably handed the phone to someone and went to get a hot dog and a beer. No, Jimmy Nickel probably.
Probably.
Yeah, let me go find a pint. I'll be right back. Oh, this is on live. Just hold on to it. Hold it right there. I'll be right back.
Oh my God.
I'll be right back. I'm going to go get a pint and a wiener. Oh, I said like I was Australian. I was Australian. Wiener. Yeah, it was like funny. I don't know if I think I told you guys before. I used to have a couple of friends when I was like in college, and one was from Liverpool, and the other one was from Australia. He was from Perth, and they would end up having these conversations. We'd be in the car to go out and stuff like that. I'd be sitting in the back seat, and they'd be like getting into like these little like arguments with each other and stuff. And I couldn't tell what the hell they were saying. I was like, how the fuck do you people understand each other? We'd be like, oh, I'm telling you shit.
Ask and you shall
how do you
receive.
understand what the fuck he said?
I love being around
Mhm.
people that are from England. I have a friend. I had a friend named Trevor. He sadly passed away a couple years ago.
Uh-huh.
But I called him like my British gay dad because like, he was gay, he was British, and so he used to invite me to his house a lot to hang out and
Mhm.
took care of me and stuff, and so he would allow me to talk British along with him because I knew how to do it because I had a British accent. And so I would used to talk with them like English all the time, and we'll say a few things, and he was like, I'm getting kicked on that all these kind of things. I was like, well, I watched nothing but British cinema growing up, so I know what you're talking about when you're saying things like a lorry or a spit road or a broke carriageway or something like that, and so he'll get a kick out of it. And then every time I meet the British people, I'll be like, hey, can I talk English with the guys? They're like, oh, yeah, definitely. And I was like, oh, okay, then I'll do it. And I'll slip into my McCartney accent again and stuff, and it's fun.
Here you go, Trekker. You want it? You asked for it. You shall receive $750 for the Morty sauce.
I thought you were going to say I had a couple of wieners. Well, was that me or was that Lisa? Lisa had a couple of wieners in high school, or did I have a couple? I'm like, oh, huh?
Only Costco hot dogs.
Most of the people I hung out with in DC were like Irish, and I'm not talking like Irish heritage, but like from Ireland.
I like my
You
whiskey
get used
cheap.
to it. When you first meet them, you have a hard time understanding them, and after a while, you just get used to it. And I used to think that Irish people had, of all the people in the world, they were the funniest. And then I met a couple of Scots. I got to tell you, as a race of human beings, the Scots are the funniest race on the planet.
I'm they are.
I one night in this bar, and I had tears coming out of my eyes after like 2 minutes. I'd never seen these guys before, and they just started talking to me, and I'm like, I'm crying, I'm laughing so hard, and I'm just like,
no, they are funny.
Man.
Well, there's a show. There used to be a show on Netflix I used to watch all the time, and it was like it was called Bunniston, and there's these two guys from Scotland, and they're talking. The entire thing was funny because there's like the famous episode that they did was they're in a lift or an elevator, and so they're like, "What are we doing in? It's a lift. But it's voice activated. Yes. Okay. 11. Sorry, we can't understand you. They don't bloody say it was Scottish. It was Scottish. 11. Sorry, you see it again. 11. Oh, you bloody cow! I want to go with 11. They're just yelling at this whole bloody thing because it's voice activated. And I'm like,
I love Scottish accents.
And
that guy,
I
that
like
singer is
watching
very good.
that stuff. It's so funny, and people are My family would be looking at me like,
Talk to you later, Greg, man. Thanks for stopping by.
I get it.
Bye, Greg.
I get it. You know.
You know what I always thought was so hilarious was my friend, like I said, Sylvain, my friend, he turned around and told me one time I was talking to him about Depeche Mode and some of the other bands I listened to at that time, and the cities they came from. And I was talking about Basildon, Essex, which is where Depeche Mode from. And he turned and he's like, oh, no, I don't go down there. I don't go down there. And I was like, well, wait a second. I said, you're from Liverpool, so you wouldn't go. He's all, no, it's quite a ways for me. He's all, let's put it this way, because he's been in, he had been in California for many years by that time. And he turned around and he's like, okay, he's all, Basildon, Essex is like South Central LA.
Yeah, it's the
He's
Compton
all,
of
Liverpool
UK.
is like Compton. And I said, what do you mean? He's all, well, Liverpool's like Compton. We're a couple of steps up. He's all, but Basildon's a couple of steps down. So he's all, so Basildon's like South Central. He's all, Liverpool's like Compton. I was oh, okay, I get it now.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
Essex is considered the Compton of the UK.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, because he says Essex is really bad.
Yeah, people from Essex like to think that they're all the king shit.
Upgraded recently, though. Liverpool's kind of like what New York City is now,
Well, the tourism also. I mean, the tourism had a lot to do with it.
Anymore, It's more like an amusement park city.
Liverpool is not Compton. Liverpool is like Highland Park. They've gone through some changes.
Yeah. Liverpool
so Scottish is crap.
Used to be rough. It's not.
Speaking of Scottish people, my favorite person who's Scottish right now is Louis Capaldi. That guy's hilarious when he does interviews. Oh my God, who's that?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them, from what I understand, a lot of them were like pretty much subsidized.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I think the coolest Scottish person right now is David Tennant.
But the most attractive Scottish guy is James McAvoy.
Who?
Huh?
James McAvoy.
Who's that?
Oh, James McAvoy. He plays Professor X in the X.
Yeah, he's easy on the eye.
He's cool. I love him. James McAvoy.
Well, you know what? Actually, to tell you the truth, Vinyl, I mean, the UK is starting to get a little bit dangerous, from what I understand, because I heard they have a lot of knife violence. Not gun violence, knives. And I was watching a documentary probably about a year ago. Not documentary, it was like one of those Vice type like shows or whatever. And they were talking about knife violence. To use a knife has to be, I think, a lot more violent than using a gun. Because with a gun, you could do it from across the street. You shoot at someone, you shoot with a knife. You got to get right up on a mofo and stab them. I think it's a lot more personal, a lot more horrifying. If you're able to do that. But they're saying, there's a lot of knife violence. And they were like showing teenagers, we're like, oh yeah, I carry this. And it's actually becoming a problem now where they're more worried about banning knives than they are about banning guns.
Yeah, UK has a very big knife problem. A lot of people get stabbed in the UK.
Yeah, so I mean, it seemed like the only people that really had guns in the UK were like the British gangsters and the police.
I mean,
and I don't even think the police carry them.
But the thing is and the point that VK is trying to make is we are more dangerous than the UK.
We are definitely more
because the gun violence here is so fucking outrageous. It's
we have the most. We have the most gun shootings versus any other country.
Okay,
there was a famous ad. I made an album cover out of it. After Lennon died, there was a famous ad that came out in like Rolling Stone or some magazine, like a month after Lennon died. That last year, 3 people were killed by guns in Australia, and it listed all these countries. And the second most country was maybe a couple of hundred. And in America, it was something like 18,000.
Yeah, because Australia hasn't had a mass shooting.
Ridiculous number,
If you think about it, Australia hasn't had a mass shooting. Because we have a lot of mass shootings. We have a lot of mass shootings, but Australia hasn't had a mass shooting since 1996.
Let me see if I can find this thing.
We have acknowledged the fact that we do have a problem when it comes to mass shootings out here in the U.S. We have acknowledged it, but we're not really doing anything about it.
I think Well, I feel like if he was still alive today, he would do more about it, and that is Harry Nilsson, because I think the article that Tim is referencing was part of that campaign that he was starting back in the 80s about
Yeah.
gun violence. And Harry Nilsson will go to like a lot of Beatle fests to talk about the gun violence that's happening and
What
stuff.
a yeah.
And
What I
as a matter
like.
of fact, that's how my dad met Harry Nilsson, because my dad
Uh,
used to
This,
set us
this, sorry,
at the
Glenn.
Beetle Fest, and he met Harry Nilsson over there. And my dad, being a cop, he talked a lot to Harry about, like, gun violence in America.
yeah.
This is the only album cover I've ever made in my life, and I used rubber cement, so it's not faring well.
Ooh.
40
Okay,
years
let me try to
later.
make it big.
Is it
But
safe? It's safe to say it's very cemented. Okay, that was a bad joke.
you can see where
Oh
the rubber
wow.
cement is stained. And
Wow.
can you read what that says?
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And what year was this?
This is right after Lennon died, so this would have been January of
81.
81. This ad probably came out.
Yeah, it's
And it's
And it's
crazy.
just gotten worse. It's gotten worse.
And I cut up a John Lennon poster to do the backside. I did a pretty good job on this, actually.
Yeah.
And because what's in here was this, which fits very nicely inside an album cover. This is how this comes. So I made an album cover for it.
Nice.
You're really
Back in,
talented at that.
81, whatever, 81 it would have been. But yeah.
I like how you Frankenstein an album cover. You're
Well,
very
I
good
found
at
this
that.
album. This is I'm trying to remember the guy's name. Who sang at Woodstock 1, 2, 3, 4? What are we fighting for? What was?
Is that not Country
He
Joe?
became a country artist.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of his name.
Richie
Country
Havens?
Joe.
Oh,
Joe McDonald.
Guess
This
what?
is a
Yeah,
Joe
Country
McDonald
Joe.
album.
Country
It just
Joe
Country-
and the
what was it,
Fish.
Country Joe and the
for him,
Fish?
like,
Yeah,
going
Country
around
Joe and the
here
Fish.
somewhere. And the album was brown, and that's why I bought it. I bought this in like a dollar bin. I threw the Country Joe album away.
Yeah, Country Joe is very interesting.
I had this ad in the front, and I just used sticky letters because it's what you had back in.
Yeah.
But it turned out all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good.
But yeah. But
No, you are you're very
crafty. That ad was kind of in a lot of places at the time.
You do a very good job of your album.
You know what is completely. You know what is really crazy is that that was years and years and years ago, and it's like,
yeah,
it's like something's never changed. It's just gotten worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we're still the worst in the world. We're the worst of the world still.
Yeah,
recently, we had gun shooting. Recently, we had some gun shooting in Torrance at the Delamo Mall. They were evacuating people.
Murders, like at least a couple every week in the little town I live in.
Yeah.
Don't
get me started on
killing
murder.
each other, so nobody goes out of their way to do much about it.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Okay, well, one's killing another one. That's okay, but it was worse. It's actually slightly better because we're down to one prison. We had two prisons in my town, and that just brings the worst element. And but one of them closed, so thank goodness a lot of bad.
And it seems like the thing is starting to seem even really more horrible about it is like it seems like you have to be like a mass shooter before you'll do any serious time. It's like you can kill someone and be out like in 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Unless you're a mass shooter and you killed multiple people, then they'll lock you up for life.
Yeah.
It's like it's just crazy.
I'm a death penalty person. I think you kill somebody, guess what? Minimum life in prison. Minimum.
You should get life in prison.
Minimum. But I'm actually not that much for the death penalty, to be honest, because I think your life is going to be you should have to live out the next 50 years of your life in a cell. I don't think you should let them go out into the yard. I don't think they should have TV or any of this stuff. I think you spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in your friggin' cell.
And that's the problem. That's the problem with the prison system nowadays. Is like if you watch all these kind of documentaries and you see like the prisoners inside there, and they have like a fucking TV and stuff like that in
Yeah.
their cells and stuff like that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
And the thing was,
Walkmans
the
and
thing was
Oh.
back in the day, back in the 90s, my
I
dad
better
was a
drink
cop.
to that.
My dad was a cop, and
Back in
they
the
asked
day.
him because they're
Mhm.
helping out. He was with the Coachella police at the time when Coachella had
Yeah.
a police department,
Mhm.
and they're helping find this killer that was from Mexico, who was doing killings in the Coachella Valley, and they
Mhm.
found him in Coachella, and my dad did the arrest. And so
Ooh.
they asked him, the newspaper people asked him like, what do you think should happen? And he says like, well, I feel like we should extradite him to Mexico so that he could serve out justice in a Mexican prison and not enjoy the perks of our resort American prisons.
Yeah.
And when he said that, he got a little bit of heat, but then everybody agreed with him. He's like, "You're right. Our American prisons are like resorts. It's like it is
Yeah.
luxurious, and that really needs to stop." So my dad made a point. His thing was on point about everything. He's like,
Decker.
these prisons are made to calm down, to not calm down, to
Mhm.
punish them, not
Yeah.
for something for them to be like relaxing, watching like a TV and stuff like that, and have access to this, have access to that.
But
That was
Paulina, you want to really torture them. Trekker's comment is right on the dot. Put on Clay Aiken's
True.
album for 24 hours.
True.
yeah.
One of the things that the only thing that I end up thinking when it ends up coming to like, capital punishment, it comes to death penalty. The only thing that I worry about is like all these people that they're finding that were not guilty in the first place.
Yeah, that's why
That
they
were
got
put,
the innocent
put to death. I mean, that's the only thing is like if you put them in jail for life, I understand that it's a drain on the taxpayer, but that also gives them a fighting chance in case they aren't guilty.
Yeah.
It gives them a fighting chance to be found in the future when technology improves or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Technology catches up where they find out it wasn't them.
Well, do you guys
because
know what they started doing in New York a couple years ago?
What?
This is insane. This is, unless it's murder, literally, unless it's murder, I don't care what you do. They arrest you, you go to a court, you get arraigned, and they let you go. There's not even bail. You go to court, you get arraigned, you're back out on the street.
Ooh,
Doesn't matter unless you killed somebody. That's the only thing they're putting you in jail for until your trial and everything.
So if someone does like attempted murder, they get let out?
Yeah.
That's stupid. That's stupid.
I would think any kind of a violent crime, you should be able to walk out.
You sell an 18-year-old 20 pounds of cocaine, and okay, you're back out in the street in an hour.
Yeah, but it's silly.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's because our prisons are so full. Well, here's the thing: if you treated prisoners like prisoners instead of people at a hotel, maybe our prisons wouldn't be so full. If it was a horrible place to go, where chances are another guy in there is probably going to kill you.
Well, what if you think about it?
Honest to God, I would have my guards. If you had one bastard in there, and I would just have my guards look the other way all the time, and hopefully.
I mean, there's people in there. There's people in there that shouldn't be in there, like people who are in there for like non-violent offenses. It's just like, I don't know.
People used to be afraid to go to jail, and they're not anymore.
I mean,
I have a feeling that's what happened to Jeffrey Dahmer. I mean, that basically the cops looked the other way.
Yeah.
I think the Dahmer was set up because they said that Christopher I forgot what his last name was, but his name was Christopher something.
Yeah.
They said that he never had a dime to his name. His family never gave him any money. They never put any money on his books, anything of that sort. They said that after he killed Dahmer, that he always had money on his books. He always had commissary. He always had food and everything else. And they think that they basically set Dahmer up, or whatever.
I don't know if it was set up, but, Dahmer, I think, kind of had it coming to him.
Well,
eventually it was going to happen.
You're probably going to die in prison no matter what.
Yeah, you're going to be
the guards. It might be just the prisoners taking care.
There's two things that's going to happen to you in prison.
But there's a lot of people that say that Dahmer wanted to die.
There's certain things you don't do, and if you do those things.
I mean, there's also, there's people that say that Dahmer wanted to die, and they felt that Dahmer might have just enticed the other prisoners.
Yeah, Dahmer did.
Because they said he was doing things like he would arrange food to look like body parts and stuff like that. They said that there was things that he would do to disturb the other prisoners. That a lot of prisoners wanted a piece of his ass. They wanted to jump him or whatever. So I think maybe he was enticing his death. He did not want to be there. Well, of course, nobody wants to be in jail, but so I think maybe. That could have been the whole thing, but I just think it's funny if it's true, because we don't know what's true and what's not true.
No.
I don't know if it's true that he did end up with money on his books afterwards, and all of a sudden he was like all of a sudden taken care of or whatever. Who knows? Vinyl Kick says, well, people will donate money because they are glad somebody got rid of Dahmer. Could be that too. Could be like, there's a lot of weird There's a lot of weird women out there too.
I mean, if you think about it, there are weird women, like that woman who married Richard Ramirez. She was writing him letters all the time, and she married him in prison in 1996. That's kind of like weird, I think, in my opinion. That's weird.
It was funny because I remember watching American Horror Story 1984, I think it was called. When they were doing the whole thing where it was supposed to be like the camp and stuff like that. Yeah. And Richard Ramirez was one of the characters and stuff like that. And it's like funny because they made him like seem like on that show, they made his character, Richard Ramirez, like he was the most evil, horrific, scary thing and stuff like that. And it's like, he was a freaking wimp. If you really think about it. He was, he always made sure that he attacked women when the men weren't home.
Yep.
Or he tried to incapacitate the man right away so he could do what he wanted to do. He always cut the men off guard.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. He was really a wimp. And basically, he ran to the cops when he was captured and was crying like, lock me up, please put me in the car. They're going to kill me.
But they did capture him in East LA. The kids saw him and they pinned him down in East LA. And they were like, yeah, we found Richard Ramirez. And that's where they arrested him, in East LA.
Yeah, I just remember my mom, what she said was, I felt like in a lot of ways my mom had a lot of like, racist in her too. She was Mexican and stuff, but I remember when he got caught and she was watching the news that it was a bunch of Mexicans that jumped him. She turned around and she went, oh well, thank God it was us that caught him. Like, in other words, like, thank God it was a bunch of Mexicans that caught him, because if it had been a bunch of white people or a bunch of this or whatever, it would have been way different. And I was like, no, it doesn't matter, man.
No,
everybody, he terrorized the whole state.
He did because he did terrorize, because he did. He did murders in Monterey Park, which is down the street from me. He did one in
where Hendrix played, yeah.
Yeah, Hendrix. He murdered a woman where Hendrix played. He murdered a woman by the Garfield Medical Center.
Jeez.
Which I used to always take the bus home when I went somewhere. Yeah, Hendrix. You know what, Trekker?
Better than Bobbitt sending them to you.
You know, Trekker, better than getting dick pics from I don't know. Don't mess with East LA. That's right. We got great tacos in East LA.
They were, exactly. The SA, and the reason why they were whooping his ass was not so much because they knew who he was. They jumped him because he tried to steal a car. He tried to steal some lady's car. And they're like, what are you trying to do? It's stealing Mrs. So-and-so's car, eh?
He was a
wimp.
He was a wimp. He in a sense, he was a scaredy cat. Richard.
They're sanlas. They're chanclas.
When I was still living in D.C., there was this old lady. This made the national news, I think. This lady, she was in her teens, and she would go by outside one of the metro stops, and she would sell like paperback books and stuff. She brought them with her every day. She set up a little table, and one day some guy followed her home, beat the crap out of her. I think he might even raped the 80-year-old woman. Stole her money and anything, left her to die. She didn't die, but the cops were looking for this guy hard before somebody else found him.
Yeah.
Because if somebody else found him, he was a dead man. And
he was.
All knew it. So they found him pretty quick. But they were looking hard for this guy because this guy's a dead man.
Yeah.
Well, it's the politics of prison. There's, that's the politics of the street. There's certain things you just don't do. Certain things you don't do. It's like, I guess you would say, what, like honor among thieves, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Certain things that people just would do. Because, all these thugs, all these gangsters, all these guys, they all have grandmas. They all have abuelitas. They all have, moms. They all have godmothers. They all have sisters. So there's certain shit that just doesn't
But
fly.
it's always been. I just read a book. It's one of the best kind of dime novel noir. I don't even know what you call them, like Jim Thompson kind of books. But this thing was 1970. It was later, but it's called The Friends of Eddie Coyle, and the book is 80% dialogue. It's amazing that you get a story out of 80% dialogue. But it's this guy Eddie Coyle who's about to serve time for I forget what he did, but he did something in New Hampshire. So he's going to the cops as a snitch on the side, trying to give them information so that they'll tell the people in New Hampshire what a great guy is, and he won't do any time. And meanwhile, he's running guns.
Oh, interesting. I'll have to check it out.
And he turns in one of the people that he sold guns to.
Ooh.
By the end of the book, and that ain't happening. And so the guy gets busted and everything, and next thing you know, there's a hit on Eddie Coyle, and the cops know it, and they just sort of let him go, and let him get hit, and that's how the book ends. I mean, it's all about codes, but even the cops have a code, and then they need snitches, but you don't do that. You do that, you deserve what you get, Eddie.
Well, I'll have to look into that book, because I do read a lot of true crime books.
Great. Well, this isn't true crime, but
it's not true crime.
No, it's not.
Is it fiction or is it nonfiction?
It's fiction.
It's fiction.
It's very cool.
Okay.
I don't know. Lisa has her. She has her disguise when she goes to stealing hamburgers.
Yeah.
Give me the hamburgers. Give me the hamburgers.
Yeah, that reminds me of the video I saw on TikTok where this girl goes into restaurants and she just starts trouble for no reason. She'll say, "Oh, my food was eaten," and they'll give her free burgers. Because I don't get it, but whatever.
You guys get the shorts. It comes up in mine all the time. YouTube shorts. This woman that dresses like Ronald McDonald.
No.
And she just bitches about stuff. And I mean, there's one, I didn't watch this one, but there's
sounds like one of my relatives.
Burger King, just as Ronald McDonald.
Really?
I'm just like, what?
This I gotta see.
But anyway, there's this new series that's coming out with this girl that's dressing like Daphne from, not Daphne, Thelma from, no, it is Daphne from Scooby Doo.
Yeah, Daphne.
And I swear it's the same woman. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure it's the same woman under the makeup and everything. That it's the same woman that's Ronald McDonald.
That reminds me of the guy that went into McDonald's dressed up as Ronald McDonald. He said, "Let's get something like he said, let's get freaking McNasty or something."
Is her name? Let me see.
I don't know her name. I don't know her name, but she dresses like Ronald McDonald.
Let me see here. This is her.
I have to look it up, DJ Trish.
And
I'm subscribed to
there's a Daphne, and I think that's her too.
Surprising, right? Shocker.
Is that her?
Yeah, that's her.
Want to make out?
What?
Whatever. It's not like I even want to be around Burger King anyway, right?
Okay, we found Dusty next
Cameraman.
door.
Are you in a clown?
Oh, Dusty's got heart eye emoji.
Wow.
I'm single
my God.
too. I surprised you, right?
Dusty's gonna want to ride her
Want to
McDouble.
make out?
No, you know what? I think
Whatever. It's not like I even want
Yeah, that's
to
her.
be around Burger
Okay, now try to find the Daphne girl and tell me if you think it's the same one.
Dang,
I kinda think it is.
Dusty's
Daphne?
got the heart eye emoji.
Daphne from Scooby Doo. With the brown wig and the glasses, and she's built the same. Daphne is. So I kind of think it's the same. But with all that makeup, it's hard to tell for
That's
sure.
big. Dusty's like, "Hello, I'm Dusty."
Maybe this is her.
Because that's what I don't like about shorts. They don't tell you who they're by. Without watching them.
Are you kidding?
No, not her. No, that's not the one.
I'm in the middle of an interrogation. This
Not her?
Orange sweater, orange or pinkish orange sweater, mini
Look,
skirt.
you can't pull me out of this right now.
The brown Daphne hair, cut in a bob. The video I saw, she's complaining about her bob. Glasses. She's like, why do girls?
She's complaining about her what?
Her bob. Why do girls that wear glasses always have their hair in a bob?
That's Velma.
That's like Daphne. I'm like, what?
That's
Velma. That's Velma.
Okay, Thelma then.
It's Velma. We know what Dusty's gonna binge watch tonight. Ronald McDonald
okay,
girl.
Thelma then. I think it's the same girl.
Yeah, I got a Scooby Doo wallet.
She's not popping up.
I gotta know my Scooby Doo, right?
Let me see.
Well, I like
Oh
Velma
yeah,
because
I've actually.
I was gonna say I like Velma because I like the girl that played her in the movies, Linda Cardellini.
I was into Shaggy, of course.
Okay, I think I found her. It looks like it's the same girl.
See, this is what I'm saying. I think it's the same girl.
A bob. Why? Can we get rid of the bob? Why do all the cartoon girlies with glasses always have a bob? Why? Can we get rid of the bob? Why do all the cartoon girlies with
That is her, yeah.
I think it is. She's cute.
It's the same girl.
I was like, hello. Trish was mentioning Lamont on the Run. You know, actually, that guy's called Lamont at Large. I watch him. He's really, really good. He goes out to like graveyards and stuff like that, and he ends up telling like true crime stories. He'll end up telling you like the whole story while he's walking up to the person's grave and stuff like that, and he'll show you the grave or whatever. But also, he's like so hardcore, like conservative right, which I don't understand since the guy lives in his freaking car, whichever, you know. But yes, he has another thing that's called what was the name of his other Big Black Bigelow or something like that? Big Bigelow or something like that, where he just does these rants and he like talks all this shit about politics and then he does live streams where he's drunk off his ass in his like van or whatever talking shit. But the Lamont at Large, I like those videos. Those are pretty good. Velma was the one with glasses from Scooby-Doo. Yes. DJ Trish, that girl was hammered. That's true.
Yeah,
I said Daphne when it always starts between
I think it's the same person. I think she's attractive. I can't stand her actually, but I think I'm weirdly attracted to her, even though I can't stand her.
We know what Tim and Dusty are gonna be binge watching tonight. Cosplay Velmas.
Oh, probably not. Probably not.
Oh, that's what you say. That's what you say. That's what you say. On Saturday, on the weekend, you're gonna be binge watching that shit. I know you very well.
Oh man, there's like a whole lot of I think it's the same chick.
Yeah, I did too. And sometimes she has another girl in the videos with her, and I think it's the same girl in a different costume that's in some of her Velma videos too. I think it's the same person.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, but Lamont at Large, he's another one who's like I think he got like in trouble. He almost got his channel taken away because he had went to one grave one time on a live, and he like was telling the whole story of the horrible things this guy did. I mean, he did do some horrible things, this guy. And he went over to the grave and he peed on the grave on a live.
Oh no!
And almost got his channel taken away. And people were like, "Oh no!"
You go to jail. You caught doing that. You go to jail.
But the thing is that he like runs. I wouldn't say runs, but he like travels everywhere, all over the country and stuff. So he probably was like, he probably split, and by the time that video got uploaded, he's probably like two states over, you know, and stuff like that. So they couldn't bust him for it. But yeah. But you could tell it was because he was drinking. Because the guy does have a problem with drinking. And like sometimes he does like some of the like dumbest rants, you know, and he's always talking about like I'm YouTube, you know, I'm YouTube. He calls it YouTube balling, which is true. He's got like 3 or 4 channels, and all of 3 or 4 channels are very, very big, and he is making a whole lot of money on it, on his channels. I think that him living in the car is probably out of choice because that's what he does. I don't think he could live in a single place if he wanted to, but that's his whole shtick is he travels everywhere. Good night, Hop Frog.
Good night. Good night.
Good night. Tell Jen good night for us too. Tell Jen good night for us too.
Who is Gunnar Nelson?
I don't know. Look it up.
It said Lisa's first crush was Gunnar Nelson. I don't know who that is.
What? She's gonna look at himself. Who's Gunnar Nelson? Wow. Hey,
Gunnar Nelson was
cute.
one of the Nelson twins, Ricky Nelson's kids, that was in the group Nelson.
Oh, I don't know that.
Lamont did a video on Walmart and almost got. He does these rant videos where he turns around, he'll go someplace and he'll buy a sandwich, and a lot of the time I do agree with him though. He'll walk in, he'll buy a sandwich, be like, I bought this burger and this fry and it cost me $15. Look at this fucking pathetic burger, and he'll show you the burger or whatever. You're like, okay, we get you, But he does these rants about different stupid shit like that too. So Gunnar Nelson was one of the other Nelson twins.
Yeah, that's what I said. One of the 2 sons of Ricky Nelson.
Well, Lisa likes the Nelsons. Weren't they on Wife Swap? Because one of them were on Wife Swap. Yeah, one of them was.
I don't know. Couldn't tell you anything about. I was very sad the night Ricky Nelson died, and that's about the only time I ever.
Okay, now I gotta look up this Gunnar Nelson because everybody talks about him.
Nathaniel's all the blonde one. That was.
Okay.
They were both blonde. It was the blonde one.
Blonde.
Okay, wait. Gunnar Nelson is a fighter. No, are we looking at the right guy?
Singers.
They were singers. They've got to be
Actually, there's a guy named Gunnar Nelson, but instead of the E is an A.
Trucker, can I just tell you something? No way, Jose. He looks plastic. Not my type. Yeah. He looks fucking plastic, man.
He looks like the seriously OG boy bands. I mean,
Oh my God, what is up with that guy's smile?
Like Backstreet Boys, any of that. They were way before that.
No, Gunnar Nelson. Gunnar Nelson's got a creepy smile. No way.
It's too creepy for you, Lisa?
Yeah, he looks like he's a serial killer. That's not flying with me.
I thought that was your type. I was kidding.
Nope.
So I like the serial killers. I kind of like them.
No, Gunnar Nelson looks like he's been to that show Botch that they have on E! Entertainment.
I think we need to do something about your background there, Lisa. I know I always complain every time we're on stream. I'm like, I don't know if it's the OCD in me, but your background over there, we got to do something about organizing that up back there.
No.
If Lisa was actually in the picture, we wouldn't see that much of it. But
that's true. I was like...
Yeah, she's way.
I was gonna say that, Nate. I was gonna say that she's crushing on Matthew Lillard.
There. I got a better background now.
Which I don't get.
I don't have any backgrounds now, so this computer might be able to support them, but I can't. I don't have any.
Oh, look it! I'm Dusty. Ooh, I like that.
No, I'm you now. I'm gonna stay all the way. Well, I got to bring my camera down.
With the upgrade I did, I wonder if it'll handle it. Let's see.
Look,
it probably will now.
Look, I'm not changing my background because my background, everybody's gonna be like. I mean, I can't have it extended. What is it?
Oh, that's right. Lisa has a newer computer too. You bought a computer not too long ago, so actually your computer's on the backgrounds now too.
I can't have an aesthetically pleasing background like Dusty. I'm sorry, my background looks like a normal house.
No, you could go ahead and we could clear that up. Well, you call me on the messenger and I tell you, okay, let's go ahead and clear this up now.
But they're all they're K-pop stuff. That's my background. I know I should make it aesthetically pleasing, but then people are going to be like, but that's not Lisa.
Then be like, Lisa, we like the unorganization of Lisa. That's what we like.
Look, I got a boombox back there because, got to play the jam sometimes.
When you break dance?
Dance to Gunnar Nelson.
What's that background, Dusty? It looks like the inside of a Unabomber. Oh, mine? Looks like a Unabomber.
Huh?
Oh, it looks like I'm in a Unabomber cabin. Oh my God.
Look, if we I will get rid of some things, but some things have to stay there.
This
Look,
is my listing area.
Oh shit.
Yes, I do. I actually have a couple of different tour posters back there. There's one for the Bandito tour and one for the Takeover tour. And then on this wall over here on this door, there's the When We Were Young Festival, My Chemical Romance. Because, you know, I'm
I don't even
middle-aged man going through midlife crisis. Huh?
How do you left? I think it's left click that you got to do to like have a little menu thing. How do you do that on a laptop? I'm just click the thing and it just does.
You're gonna click it. You're gonna click.
I think at the bottom of the mouse pad, it should independent where you would have your right click. There, it should be. You should be still be able to go ahead and do a list.
Solid thing. Mine's just
so you would go to like the left side of that solid thing. The left side, in the corner.
I did, and nothing, and it just went to the website, which is what it always.
You know, Star Trekker, that's where I write all my OnlyFans songs, is on that grand piano.
I gotta hook a mouse up to this thing.
I write all my OnlyFans songs on that grand piano, you know? Me and Gunner.
I have no idea how you do this.
Me and Gunner.
Yeah, Michael. Lisa, it's time to film again. Go. It's time for Lisa to film again. So we're gonna go. Okay, Lisa, shoot.
I mean, do people make video content on OnlyFans?
I don't know. Yeah. But you need to come get your stuff for OnlyFans and take it home.
No, you sent it to me. No, you sent it to me. Come on.
Oh, damn! It's not supposed. What the hell?
I have a tripod, or I have 2 tripods. I don't need your tripod. My tripod is OnlyFans approved.
We got that. We got all your mics over here. We have this one that goes by the butt. We have this one that goes towards the top.
Man, Dusty's like so. Dusty's got too many mics. I wonder if he has an OnlyFans.
That's going to be the name of my store. Too many mics. Too many mics. Well, no, because I was going to start doing those podcasts where I was going to have people sitting around a table or whatever and talking about stupid stuff.
You should call it Talking About Stupid Stuff. That's the name of the podcast.
That'll probably be the name of it. Talking About Stupid Stuff. Fat dudes talking about stupid shit. That's what's
you know what? I said your podcast needs to have. Now your podcast needs to have Dewey, Lewis, Caesar, and you. That would be hilarious, man. That would be so freaking hilarious.
Oh no! What happened?
Paulina,
all of a sudden you're all grainy.
You got the OnlyFans camera running? Oh,
all right, I give up on that.
No, you know the pad, right? On your
Yeah. No matter where I press it, it just does the one thing that it does. It doesn't do the other thing.
Well, I think with a laptop,
every corner. I've tried every. It's big too. It's like 3 inches by 2 inches, and it's all one solid thing. And
yeah, you were looking like you were in the Ring movie.
That got scary. I was like, "Oh, what the hell?" It's like in one of those horror movies. Or
I was gonna try a background, but
You know what? I will make my background aesthetically pleasing, but I'm not moving my records because it's a pain in the ass to move 600 records to this.
You know, I don't understand. Well, I mean, it's not like it's a requirement, but I don't understand how come you don't turn your stuff to where. Well, never mind. Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
I just put that 4-cube shelf there because I can put my phone when I charge on top of it.
Okay.
And the bookshelf could be a little more aesthetically pleased. I should put some books on there, make it look a little more nicer.
Nathaniel said, "Touch the pad with 2 fingers."
Well, I'm not there now, but
okay.
Don't you like my background? I look like I live in a rich house.
She likes to have it there so she can put her phone on there when she's charging her snacks.
Let me go back there and see if.
Oh, my electric banana. Just kidding.
I was going to be that.
It did save it, but it saved the whole page into some weird place. I have no idea what it was.
Hmm.
You know, I got things to charge on there, so gotta keep them all charged.
Well, today is somewhat of a sad day for me, and you know why?
Why?
I'm all out of Pepsi.
Oh no!
Well, drink some Coke.
Ew!
Ow! No.
Yeah.
What? You know, we never gonna see eye to eye with our preferences in cola.
I don't like Coke.
I love Coke.
You know what I always wanted to do? I always wanted to do a video where it's all black and white, and then there's a guy right there, and he says, Paulina, how many times have you done Coke? And I would be like, 3 or 4 times. And they're like, do you think your people will do Coke just because you do it? No, I don't think anybody would do Coke just because I do it. And the thing is, like, you asked me if I do Coke, and I answered, but it's all about you. It's all about you spraying it around in all the homes that I did Coke. I do not want people to know that I did Coke, but it will be you that'll be influencing it all on the home. I don't know if you've ever seen that video.
No.
I did that. It didn't work, by the way. The 2 fingers. The 2 fingers like moves the screen, which is really weird.
That's fine. I totally didn't notice that Nathaniel had said you were a crush on Matthew Lillard. You know, I watched that movie the other night. I watched Hackers. I hadn't watched it in a long time. It's so freaking cheesy. So freaking cheesy. I think I had mentioned it like in a live stream not too long ago. And I was like, I hadn't watched it in a while. It's just like horrible. Matthew Lillard actually comes from the town that I live in. This is his hometown. He went to Foothill High School.
Nice.
Yeah, he went to Foothill High School. And I guess he was raised here. Also, Cuba Gooding Jr. is from here.
Oh, that's not good.
A lot of baseball players out of this city. A lot of baseball players. Yeah. Surprisingly. The city that I first lived in when I was a child, when I was a wee baby, we moved from Pico Rivera when I was like 4 months old.
That's sad. That's sad.
I was born. That's sad. That's sad. I was born in Pico Rivera when they still had a hospital. That's sad. That's sad. And we moved to Norwalk when I was 4 months old, and I was in Norwalk for quite a few years. But it was funny because last night they were saying, or a couple of nights ago, they were saying Metallica was playing at SoFi, and they said that they had mentioned during their show. They said, "Yeah, we started like so many miles from here in Norwalk." They finally acknowledge it because they always say we're from San Francisco, which is not where they fucking started. They started at a fucking garage on Oranday, which was across the street from Curtis and King. Not Oranday, across the street from Curtis and King, right next to the Zodies, where our first apartment in Norwalk was. You know, when I was a baby, they formed like right down the street from there. And it's funny because Ron McGovney, who was the original bass player for Metallica, they formed in his house, and he's on Facebook. And one time he was mentioning the Torch Room, which is this fucking dive bar. And I was saying, yeah, people used to go and take their cans and bottles and stuff, and they'd take them there, and they like, you know, because the guy would pay extra money because he would put in with his cans and stuff, and you know, give us money for the recycling when we were kids and shit, and we go buy donuts. So, yeah, the Torch. You remember that guy? And he starts mentioning the guy's name. Me and him had a total conversation on Facebook. But yeah, he was like the original bass player. I guess when they got inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he got snubbed.
Aww.
You know, and I was like going, damn. But then afterwards they tried to make it up to him. They ended up having like a little ceremony of their own, and they invited him. But I was like, damn, you know, I was like, that fucking sucks. You helped form the fucking band. You were in the original lineup with fucking Dave Mustaine. You know, it's like, why didn't they fucking, you know, he came in before Cliff Burton. You know, Cliff Burton replaced him, but whatever. And also fucking James Hetfield was from Downey. You know, he went to the same freaking high school as Karen Carpenter. You know, and stuff like that. So that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's yeah, same hospital that my son Christopher was born in is the same hospital that Karen Carpenter died in. Wow. You know, yeah.
Wow.
That's sad.
That's sad.
That's
That's sad.
yeah, it's called Downey Community. Yeah, so. But people, I'm going to go ahead and log off for the night. I've already been here for like 2 hours and a half. But we will be back tomorrow night at 8:30.
That's good.
So that's good.
That's good.
That's good. We'll be back tomorrow at 8:30. 8:30 p.m. I'm going to do it 30 minutes later. Because I know there's going to be a whole lot of like VC channels on tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know
so I go
what?
a little bit later because we're late night
Same
crew.
time. Same time, same back channel.
Because we're late night crew. That's what we do.
Late,
we do late night
yeah.
crew. We're the last show of the evening.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
last show of the evening. So
I need to do my eyeliner.
there you go.
For that.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
You
That's
know what we
good.
need to do, Paulina? Paulina, we need to dress up as
Goodbye
Cola.
again.
Aye.
Aye.
You know, when I get home from work tomorrow, I'm gonna go into the freaking garage and I'm pulling out my. I need to pull out my freaking snowman. So, but good night, Trish, Nathaniel, the werewolf. Good night, Trekker. Good night, Easy
night,
Nick.
all.
Everybody who is here. I should go all the way up the list. Dave, of course, not here anymore. Vinyl and Kicks. See everybody tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Good.
That's happy.